See, I agree with you on that. Hardest thing in sports to do is to hit a baseball. None of us would succeed against Josh Johnson. He'd throw a perfect game. But penalty kicks, PKs, a stationary ball 10 yards away from a goalie who can't move until I kick the ball.
Yeah, but did you hear who brought this up yesterday, the penalty kicks? It was Tim Kurchin.
Yeah.
He said, you don't realize that a soccer goalie, while it may look like luck to you in a game, he can read an amateur like yourself 10 steps away where you're going to kick the ball. This guy has spent his entire life blocking balls from going in the goal, and you think you're just going to walk out on a soccer field and fool him?
It's breathtaking to me, that Stugotz watches sports and has no idea what he's watching. Doesn't have any idea how good the people on the court. Do you know how many just simple layups all of us would miss in an NBA basketball game with people flying around us like that?
Well, I hit every layup.
If Josh Smith were flying around you, you would miss layups just going down the court. In the NBA, they almost never miss layups.
Speak for yourself, man. You'd be intimidated by Josh Smith. I would not.
Stugotz.
I'd hit my they're layups for crying out loud.
First of all, no, they're not just layups. When there's 9 guys around you
you're
that are double your size.
5 bleeping 9. You're 5'9".
But it's a wide open layup you're talking about.
No, I'm not talking about wide open layups. I'm talking about you get the fast break, and here comes Josh Smith.
You hear the footsteps behind you.
Here he comes, and he's gaining ground because for every 4 steps you take, he takes 1. He is 10 times faster than you. It takes him 15 steps to get down the court. You run down the court like a toddler.
Okay, I get that, Dan, but if I'm putting the ball up for a layup and Josh Smith has no chance of blocking my shot, he's just behind me, I'm just hearing footsteps, I'm going to hit the layup.
Josh Smith can block your shot no matter where you are on earth.
But what I'm saying is there is a lot of precedent for people running on the field.
You're telling me that Morgana falling face first and and bouncing on the field
coming out of her mouth.
I have Morgana's measurements. Would you like them?
Yeah.
60, 23, 39.
Yeah, that's right.
Some large-ass breasts.
That's Stugotz's contribution to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
60, 23, 39.
Morgana had some large breasts.
Is she alive still, Morgana, the kissing bandit?
Dead.
She is?
62. I lied.
What is that?
I don't understand you. I am so.
Just want to make sure you're listening to it.
I am so confused by you. You are so eager to break the story that Morgana is dead that you kill her before you know anything. Your ability to
keep you on your toes.
It's not keeping me on my toes. What is that thing? Explain to me what that tick is that you have where you want to give the right answer to information even if you don't know what the answer is.
She turns 63 in a month. I don't know what the tick is. I didn't have the right answer.
But you killed her. Like, you have no problem just off the top of your head saying she's dead when you don't know.
I brought her back.
If Stugotz tried 10 penalty kicks against a world-class goalie, he would make he would make how many? How many would he make?
He would make none. He would make none, and I suppose the Vegas over/under would be 1, only because of the possibility that he lucks to hit one in the extreme upper right corner, but I don't think a non-athlete, a non-player could get the kind of velocity on the ball to even beat the reaction of a world-class goalie.
I think I'd hit 6. Convert 6.
Really?
Yes, really. I convert. Greg, you're 10 yards away, stationary object. All you have to do is do that no-look trick, where you look to the right, kick it to your left, you score a goal. And by the way, the professionals do it at an 80% clip.
I don't think it's quite 80, is it?
Yeah, it is. It is 80. But here's the thing.
Is it 80? Okay, but those are professional soccer players who know how to bend the ball, who know how to do all different kind of things with the ball.
And that's exactly the reason I took it down to 6.
No, the only hope you would have is that You know, it's like when you're used to major league fastballs and all of a sudden somebody's throwing 60 and you totally confound the hitter because he's not used to something that slow. I think that would be your best bet. You know, that the world-class goalie is used to a certain type of shot and you're giving it your all and kicking it about 20 miles an hour, and I think that's your best bet.
I don't think he makes 6 out of 10 if I'm standing nearby tasering the goalie.
Or you have an eel in your hand.
The goal that Spain scored, 50 yards out. We can't do that, right? We don't have anyone who can do that.
Well, we're not Spain. They haven't lost in like a decade, that team.
Well, yeah, they lost to
in
us.
the tournament.
They also lost to us last
Feels like
year.
a decade.
I would not buy season tickets to just last year's Heat. That's not something I would invest in.
Well, and that's your worst-case scenario. Actually, it's worse than that.
No, the
it's
worst worst case scenario is you're on your hands and knees begging Joel Anthony to please take your money again.
Yeah, that's true. Well, God,
that's such a bad scenario. If you buy those tickets for the first time, like you've never had Heat season tickets before, and you buy them with the hopes that you're right, because if you're going to buy them, you pretty much have to make your move before free agency. You have to make your move before July 1st or the 8th.
You have
right?
to make it now. Essentially, you have to make it now. You really do. Because I imagine the Heat are down there. They're reading these reports from Stephen A. They're already cranking up the season ticket price.
Well, no, they know more than Stephen A. They know more than Stephen A. They're not. Stugotz, did you have just Pat Riley tuning into 790 the ticket to find out what Stephen A. Smith is saying about this because he doesn't know?
Well, that's the way I envision it. Yeah.
Like he's going on the internet and he's clicking on your head.
Yeah.
Let me find out what I'm going to be doing with my hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's find out what Stephen A. Smith is saying.
Yeah.
Or would you rather be Pat Riley's assistant with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James? Mm-hmm. What do you think he would say?
That's the question I'm asking. I think
he would say assistant coach.
Yes, definitely.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure.
Some title, assistant head coach, assistant to the head coach, something along those lines.
Heir to the head coach.
Right, heir to the head coach.
Guys, who's the assistant to the head coach of Phil Jackson? Come on, guys.
Tex Winter.
That's right.
Still?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he might have died.
Tex Winter is the real mastermind behind the triangle offense. You realize that. What Jackson's been doing for a decade now is a complete scam.
Is this true that Deadspin has a photo of Billy the Marlin trying to high-five Tom Willis, the man we had on a couple of weeks ago who has no arms, who threw out the first pitch yesterday with his foot?
You know, it's hard because it's a still photo, so you never know exactly what Billy the Marlin was doing. But this photo certainly leads you to believe that Billy the Marlin, after this man threw out the first pitch with no arms, Billy the Marlin came up to him on the mound and tried to give him a high five.
Yeah. I actually feel bad for Billy the Marlin in that spot, too. Because I think, by definition of mascot, you always default to the high five. Do you not?
I think that's a fireable offense.
You do.
I'm not even kidding.
You know what? It reminded me, I have to be honest, last year, one of the American Idol contestants walked out of their audition, Ryan Seacrest. The guy was blind. Hawk and I talked about, and Ryan Seacrest on national TV was trying to high-five the guy. One small problem. Guy blind couldn't see that Ryan Seacrest was trying to high-five him. It was a very awkward moment, but Ryan Seacrest kept his job as host of American Idol.
It is kind of a go-to move. When somebody does something good, you kind of want to high-five them.
What's a mascot to do there?
Not high-five the guy who has no arms? This is how the people in the car realized rather suddenly that I was falling asleep. I just sort of mumbled. I think the coverage of the Ted Danson rape trial has been overzealous.
Stugotz.
There's no Ted Danson rape trial. I don't know why in my sleep I'm slandering the cast of Cheers. And I sort of come to, and I'm like, where was I? And everyone in the car is just staring at me.
Here's Dan Le Batard and Stugotz on 790 The Ticket.
Somebody writes in that Lee Corso tried to shake the hand of a kid who went blind and spent the season with USC football. Somebody else writes in that Joe Biden begged a veteran to stand up until he realized that he was in a wheelchair. You guys have to have stories like this. I have one not quite like that, but being on an elevator with a woman who was eating a salad, I commented that she needed to feed the baby bigger and better than just sprouts, and she said, I'm not pregnant. I would never fire a mascot for anything. In fact, I want my mascots cocaine trafficking. Like, I would never fire a mascot for anything.
Nothing? There's nothing that would cause you to fire a mascot?
Nothing.
Of course there is.
No.
I mean, let's not get carried away.
Nothing.
Dan.
I want a murderous mascot. I want my mascot of my team to be a murderer.
And still keep his job.
That is correct. Well, he'd probably lose his freedoms at that point, which would be problematic.
There's no line in the sand here. There's nothing, huh?
It would be bad for him in jail. Any mascot spending time in jail, it would be very bad for them.
But again, like you're the owner of the team, let's say, and you go back to the locker room after the game, and the mascot is doing it with your daughter. You still okay with that?
Really, Stugotz? I'm okay with murder, but that's the one that's going to set me off.
Well, you never know. Your daughter, your
right.
daughter, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the daughter comes before murder. You get that
Mascots
one, right?
can do whatever they want. What's going on with Bobby Valentine?
It's not coming, unfortunately.
Are you sure?
No.
It's being reported by the Miami Herald that Bobby Valentine is out of the running to become the Marlins' next manager. Now, I saw Bobby Valentine talking last night on ESPN. He doesn't seem to know that he's out of the running for Marlins manager because he said, I'm in the middle of the process. Decisions need to be made, and we're in the middle of the process.
Feels like some sort of dog and pony show here, no?
What does that mean, Stugotz?
I don't know. It's just one I've wanted to use for a while, and it seems like you opened up the dog and pony door, and I just walked right through it.
What is that? What do you mean? Like, what is the dog and pony? I don't think you even used it correctly. A dog and you didn't. I mean, explain to me what you meant to say there. Explain to me what you think a dog and pony show is. Why don't you start there?
No idea.
Because, I mean,
you would agree, though, in 6 years, it's the closest opportunity you've given me to use it.
Because you're Ron Burgundy, who uses when in Rome incorrectly. Because that's... And I'm Christina Applegate, looking at you like, I want to love you.
Oh, you love me, Dad.
I want to love you, and then you say things like that.
Well, you know what it means. You know what I was trying to say.
No, I don't know what you were trying to say.
Well, I don't know what I was trying to say. So that makes two of us.
All right.
I don't know. We don't know what has happened yet. All I know is what I was told by my sources. I trust them, and I stand by the report that I gave. LeBron James and Chris Bosh are coming to South Beach to play alongside Dwayne Wade. If I'm wrong, I'll be more than happy to come back on this show right in front of your face if you want me to, and eat all the crow you want.
I got to tell you, this sounds like the classic dog and pony show.
What does that mean?
He's exactly right, Stugotz.
I'm unaware of what that means.
He doesn't know what it means.
I honestly think that Pat Riley, the president, will give Eric Spoelstra, the coach, an opportunity to coach these guys before he was willing to take over.
This does sound like the classic dog and pony show.
I still don't know what you mean.
Neither do I.
Understand you have to play little ball, but you have to play it with little guys, not bigger guys. I always go back to what Earl Weaver used to say, that if they're going, you only get 27 outs. If they're going to give you an out, take the out. He used to really get angry at his pitchers for not throwing a strike when a guy was squared to bunt. They're giving us an out. Take it. Bunting is always giving them an out, and I'm not sure that's the right thing to do, and I'm totally against it when it's a good hitter, especially when it's earlier in the game than it should be.
To me, it just sounds like the classic dog and pony show.
I'm sorry, Stugotz, what?
To me, it just sounds like the classic dog and pony show, Timmy.
What, the Freddie Gonzalez move? I mean, the move to bunt Gabby Sanchez?
No, we're just teasing you. He doesn't know what the expression means, and we've been making the joke all show that he doesn't know that he doesn't know how to use the expressions.
All the other outlets, both local and national, had to catch up to Stephen A. Smith. You could almost hear the conversations happening with the guy who's in charge of the South Florida Sun-Sentinel telling Ira Winderbag, who loves to take shots at this station and this radio show, yet I know for a fact he would come over here if I offered him a nickel more today. Ira Winderman would be doing his stuff here instead of across the street at the cop. If I gave him 5 cents more, Ira Winderbag, who's been telling you for 2 years now that LeBron is going to the Knicks, and yesterday, on the heels of the Stephen A. Smith story, because his editor probably got a hold of him and said, hey, what are you doing? You're the local guy. You're supposed to have the local sources. You're supposed to be closest to the Heat situation. Why is Stephen A. Smith beating you to all these big stories? Because then suddenly Ira Winderman comes out with a story, and he starts telling you that yes, LeBron James and Chris Bosh are indeed coming to the Miami Heat. Hasn't told you that for 2 years, but suddenly yesterday, Ira Winderman, on the heels of Stephen A. Smith, Winderbag, which is a combination of windbag and douchebag, I think, right? All of a sudden, Ira Winderman is coming out with his own LeBron story, his own Bosh story, and then last night, to make matters worse, ESPN, Chris Broussard, who I like, and Mark Stein, because someone at ESPN got a hold of them and said, hey, we're paying you all this money. We're the worldwide leader in sports. How can you let Stephen A. Smith beat you to the punch here? Then all of a sudden, Broussard and Mark Stein come out with a report that there was this big summit in Miami over the weekend where the three of them were discussing their futures. I ask you, the audience, are you buying any of this? Are you buying some of it? Are you buying any of these reports? 786-360-0790.
Now, wait, hold on a second here.
Yes.
This is, without question, the biggest story of the summer.
Correct.
And you've taken this story and just turned it into a personal assault on Ira Winderman?
Winderbag.
Let's get over it. It's not that easy.
Listen, guys, he's from Akron. He's not from Cleveland. Let's get over it. He gave them great years. He gave them back-to-back MVPs. He gave them 2 consecutive years of being the best record in the NBA. They made it to an NBA Finals. They made it to an Eastern Conference Championship. I guess they didn't give him enough, even though I think that he did. Get over it. Go play with Wade. Go play with Derrick Rose. Go play with Bosh and win your championships.
Actually, you know what? Stugotz just swayed me there, because if you phrase the question this way, would you rather be a GOAT and not the greatest of all time, would you rather be a literal GOAT in Akron or a hero in Chicago or Miami?
Not a literal goat.
I'll give you that choice, too. Would you rather be a literal GOAT in Akron?
So a goat or a literal goat?
Would you rather be hated in Akron, even if that's your hometown, or Cleveland? Extend it to Cleveland. Would you rather be hated in Cleveland or beloved in Miami or Chicago or New York?
Hometown matters, doesn't it?
Hometown matters. When it's Cleveland, though, is the point.
Right. Or Akron. Jeez. Cares.
Stugotz, you're the guy who perpetually makes every decision in sports based on how much applause you would get from a stadium full of people.
Yeah, but at the
And
Hawks
now
point,
you want LeBron to get over his hometown, him being the most hated person in the history of the state.
No, to Hawks' point, I want Chicago's applause. Could care less about Cleveland's.
I mean, it's true. When you think about that seriously, who's not trying to leave Akron?
Seriously. Even Akron tried to leave Akron.
Well, he's had other opportunities to leave Akron. He's had other opportunities to leave and never left.
Well, when?
He had a contract 3 years ago that he didn't have to re-sign.
That would have been a little too early. He's given them enough now. He's given them enough.
Nobody knew if he was going to last at that point. I'd like to see how long this one takes to get some traction, because I just tweeted out just a couple minutes ago reporting definitively that James will not play for Heat next season, and it's signed Stugotz. Now, I'm going to clarify that in a couple minutes via Twitter. I'm going to clarify that to make certain people know that that's James Jones you're talking about and not LeBron. But it's already been retweeted a dozen times. But it's like a presidential election. Like, it's swinging in Miami's favor right now. The exit polls all of a sudden are leaning towards Miami. But there could be that Howard Dean moment. Someone can say the wrong thing. Howard Dean could scream at the wrong time, and all of a sudden, it's over.
Well, Bosh just said it's pie in the sky.
Oh, well, see, now I didn't know it was pie in the sky.
Yeah.
See, now I'm not feeling the elation that I was feeling earlier.
It keeps swinging, you're right, like a pendulum. It keeps swinging.
I'm telling you, we are going to feel so deflated.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still the possibility Dwayne Wade isn't even playing here next season.
That's true. LeBron might recruit him to Chicago. Did you ever think about that one?
It could be a smokescreen.
Dan, can I ask you a serious question?
Well, which is it, smokescreen or pie in the sky?
Huh.
I don't want to hear your serious question. What's your serious question?
Well, I'm debating pie in the sky or smokescreen. It was a fantastic question.
It really could be a smokescreen, though.
Yeah,
Think about it.
Yeah,
What's the smokescreen?
Well, the smokescreen is to throw everyone off the track.
Right.
I'm familiar with...
The scent, I'm sorry. I'll throw them off the scent.
Right. It's classic dog and pony.
Well, I think it's... I don't think it's the scent. I think a smokescreen is to throw people off the site, isn't it?
Possibly the scent.
Well, it depends.
Yeah,
Depends. Stink bomb.
Right.
What do you mean it's a smokescreen?
this could be a gigantic... I mean, this could all be smoke and mirrors for what we know.
Could be. I've confirmed that.
Well, what does that expression mean?
Well, all I'm saying is by the end of this, they might pull the rug out from under us.
Why are there smoke and mirrors? I don't know that I know that expression, but I don't know what that expression means. Do you have any idea what the expression smoke and mirrors mean? It's an illusion. It's magic, but I mean, is that a magic show? Things are smoke and mirrors used in a magic show?
It's like a smoke and mirror show.
Yeah. It's a metaphor.
Smoke
and mirrors. Metaphor for
the thing is,
fraudulent behavior.
We may find out at the end of this that the grass is not always greener on the other side.
Are you going to keep doing this?
Well, no. Why? What am I doing? I thought we were having a conversation about sports.
Is he doing something?
Because the truth is, we've got Wade, we've got Beasley. Who else do we lock up? Chalmers?
Chalmy, yeah.
The grass may not be greener on the other side. You know, and to every something,
there's
some
dog
rain must
poop
fall
on our grass. Our grass is.
Oh, how about this one? A bird in the hand is worth two in the Bosch.
Dan Le Batard.
Everything on Shakira's body that moves has moved on the World Cup stage.
It's unbelievable. You can't tell me that the World Cup is going to get any better. Explain to me how this messy guy is going to be more exciting than what I'm watching right now.
Stugotz.
I don't think I've ever seen our studio like this. We're all just sitting here silently. There's a movie scene that's coming to mind. I can't think of the one.
Oh, she just drank out of a straw. Oh. I'm messy.
I mean, I just keep spin. Would you like me to take a spin right now? Because what it is, it's all their NBA experts, where they think the top free agents will land, and you just spin it, and it gives you different scenarios. Would you like me to take a quick spin of the free agent machine?
What is it?
I'm going to spin it anyway.
Well, what? It's a slot machine, and what? Like,
hold on.
It's Rick
Hold on. Oh! Worst case scenario for your Miami Heats. LeBron to Chicago. Boozer with LeBron. Dwayne Wade and Joe Johnson to the Knicks. But you got Amari Stoudemire.
Isn't it being reported now that Joe Johnson is signing a max deal tonight with Atlanta, staying with the Hawks, max deal tonight?
Well, who cares? It doesn't say that on the machine.
Right. Who cares?
Well, I just spun it again, and Wade and Bosh are coming to Miami. LeBron to Chicago. Nowitzki stays in Dallas, and David Lee goes to Sacramento.
Now you have me intrigued.
Want to take a spin?
I would rather play Russian roulette.
Well, they don't have a roulette machine here. It's just a slot machine.
Jay Glazer's mad at me, I'm told. It may have something to do with this. Jay Glazer, douche or no douche?
No douche.
Jay Glazer. Douche or no douche?
No douche.
Jay Glazer joins us now. You're upset at me?
Now, don't you feel like a douche for doing that, man? Here I am, a friend of the show. Come on whenever you want. And why would you try to sandbag me like that with one of my boys?
What? He represented on your behalf. He protected you.
But why? You didn't get the answer you wanted, and you said it again. Why? Why
because
would you do that? I'm a friend of the show.
Journalists ask tough follow-up questions.
Oh, please, man. That was lame. You know that. That was horse. You know what? That was garbage.
Well, what? So I can ask it the first time, but I can't ask it the second time?
Because you weren't getting the answer you wanted. It's like you wanted him to call me a douche. Dana's my boy. He's not going to do that. But it's just still, why, if I'm a friend of the show, why would you want anybody to, just find somebody to call me a douche? I mean, there's plenty of people who think I am. You could find that easy.
Insults are the language of intimacy among males, Jay.
Nah, come on, not that way. That was a little petty. You know that.
Jay,
and yet I still come on the show. Why? I don't know.
Jay,
if I was there with you, I definitely would have choked your ass out.
Jay,
no
that you would have because you're tougher than I am. You train the athletes. But yes or no, the jocular language in the locker room when guys like you is they make fun of you.
Absolutely, but that wasn't the way you went. You were trying to be a jag-off about it. Yes or no?
No, I was fooling around. You're my friend. We like having Dana White on the show. Why in the name of God would I be trying to be a jag-off to you?
I don't know. I didn't even know. You read about it on all the blogs afterwards. I was like, God, what the hell is this guy
on the
trying
blogs?
to do?
What was all
Yeah, man, it's just all over the place. Everybody was screaming.
Are you aware that I didn't realize you were so sensitive? The show, that segment is hosted by Douche Le Batard. Like that's how we frame the.
It doesn't matter. You know as well as I do. You try to get Dana to call me a douche.
Well, yeah, I did, but it would have been funny because it would have been fun. I'm not denying
But
that.
you were looking for the answer. You know that.
I was going to ask him a third time, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, you're a douche. Go ahead, move on.
Caliendo, douche or no douche?
Oh, hell no. No douche at all.
Joe Buck, douche or no douche?
No. No douche.
Dana White, douche or no douche?
No douche.
Dana White, douche or no douche?
No douche.
Dana White, douche or no douche?
No douche, man. Okay, I got you.
See you later, Glazer. The Marlins have made an unholy mess of their managerial situation. The president comes and talks about it next.
And now the David Sampson Show.
I don't like when my feet are touched. I don't like touching other people's feet.
The bullpen has really significantly hurt what would otherwise be a decent chance of winning the division. So I'm of the opinion that cheaping out on the bullpen this offseason has significantly cost the Marlins this season. I don't know about you, but to me this sounds like a classic dog and pony show. Any comments?
Yeah, you have a great comment. The bullpen last year was our strength, and Larry did not predict that 4 members of last year's bullpen would not be able to perform this year at the level that they had performed last year. We thought that we would move on from Kiko Calero, and he's currently not pitching, but the other guys, Pinto, Meyer, even Sanchez, who's now pitching much better, admittedly. His bullpen acquisition was Clay Hensley, who's turned out to be very good, and Jose Veras, who's back on the team and throwing strikes and doing well. So building bullpens in general is really, really hard. Just ask about 25 other teams. It's hard to find Rivera out there. So it's definitely hard.
This does feel like the classic dog and pony show.
I'm not sure. Is that like best? What's a dog and pony show?
Well, I don't know.
All right, we inch toward free agency. Very exciting. A guy writes in, Dan, you're going to look back at this and realize that it is really awful, awful radio. More of it next.
After the dust settles, Dan, and everyone looks at it, and let's say it's Dwayne Wade. That's right, I used that one.
Why is there dust settling?
Well, sometimes dust is all over the place, and when it settles and you have time to reflect.
What, after an explosion?
Well, yeah, and then it all settles, and you have some time because you're trying to get through all the dust, and then it settles, and you have some time to reflect.
Why do I have to wait for the dust to settle before I can start reflecting?
You can't reflect until it settles. It's in the ear, it's in your eyes, it's in your brain, it's in your ears, it's getting everywhere, up your nose, and you can't really reflect until it all settles down.
But what if it hasn't settled and it's just below my chin?
Well, that's a good point. I haven't thought about that one. But can I finish this thing before?
Can I start reflecting then when the dust hasn't quite settled, but it's reached my chin, and I can now breathe cleanly?
Once it gets below chin level, you can start reflecting.
Adrian Wojnarowski is the way that you pronounce it. You have him on your national show on Saturdays, and you always introduce him by saying Adrian and then making him say his own last name.
It's exactly how I do it, yeah. And when I reset during the interview, I say Adrian, and then I don't say anything, and he fills in the blank. He says his own last name. I can't pronounce it. What do you want from me? You're shocked that I can't pronounce that?
Mike Wallace of the Miami Herald filled up the phone lines. They went radioactive. People want information on this. And Stugotz is convinced that they will get it from anybody, that it doesn't matter who we put on. It could be anybody, and you want to talk to that person. It doesn't matter how valid the information is, how credible, how sourced, that you just want to talk NBA with anybody. I told you the story earlier in the show that everywhere I go, everyone is asking me, Dan, what do you think is going to happen with LeBron? And before I could get a syllable out, they don't want to hear what I want to say. They blow back what they think is going to happen with LeBron. So call now. 786-360-0790. Charles Barkley going to join us here momentarily. Marcos, you're on with our NBA Insider. What's your question?
It is rumored that it would take a sign and trade to get Bosh from Toronto, and we'd have to give up Beasley and Bosh. Now, how much better is Bosh than the other two options in Amari and Boozer that we would have to give up two valuable pieces, considering if we sign everybody, it's just going to have to be minimum contract after that. So when I tell you that this sounds like a classic dog and pony show, you say what?
NBA Insider?
Well, Chris Bosh is clearly the better fit here, Dan, and thank you for the call. We appreciate it. Chris Bosh clearly the better fit here than Amari Stoudemire and Carlos Boozer, only because Bosh plays more of an inside game than Stoudemire and Boozer, who play more of a perimeter game. So Bosh is definitely worth it, and he's the guy. Of those three power forwards, Dan, Chris Bosh is clearly the guy in the right match for the Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade and LeBron James.
Steve, you're on with our NBA Insider.
Yo, I just want to know, what are the percentages of Chris Bosh coming down here? Stugotz, thanks.
The percentages, Dan, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. The percentages on Chris Bosh coming down to the Heat, right now I have them. About 15 minutes ago, I had it at 87%, but right now I have it at only 64%.
Matt, you're on with our NBA Insider.
Yeah, hi. I was just wondering what the chances are of Paul Pierce re-signing with my Celtics, and what factors does Doc Rivers coming back, how will that play into his decision?
Well, the fact that Doc Rivers has decided to come back and coach, and I have no earthly idea. I mean, God forbid you spend some time with your kids if you're Doc Rivers, but the mere fact that he is coming back obviously means that Paul Pierce will return to the Celtics, Ray Allen will also return to the Celtics, and Larry Bird might come back as well.
Jim, you're on with our NBA Insider.
What size is your wife's cup size?
A D, double.
Mike, you're on with our NBA Insider.
Mr. Wiener, big fan of your work and your website. First of all, give me a percentage, and who is the best possible big man for the Thunder and the percentage to get him?
I didn't hear the question, Dan. Could you help me out there?
The Thunder, best possible big man for the Thunder, NBA Insider.
Oh, it's Brian Scalabrine, and I'd put it probably at 92%.
Daniel, you're on with our NBA Insider.
If you do the sign-in trade with Bosh and get rid of Beasley and Chalmers, who do you think the Heat could pick up potentially as a point guard?
I think they'll go out and get Chris Paul.
Kevin, you're on with our NBA Insider.
NBA Insider, you sound a lot like Stugotz.
Well, I'm not Stugotz.
Charles Barkley next.
You'll hear the interesting guests on the Dan Le Batard Show. NBA champion Paul Pierce.
What's the coolest perk that's come from being a champion?
Well, I've gotten a lot of free meals, a lot of champagne bottles, and when the restaurant or the club is lined up to capacity, I get a free pass.
Even in Miami, it's tough in Miami to get a free pass. I'm guessing that there have been a time or two that you've been turned away in Miami for not being...
Oh, I've definitely been turned away in Miami, so we're going to see what happens this year.
Not anymore, right? Dress code, you can be in shorts and flip-flops as long as you got that ring on.
I'm going to come down there in my pajamas and see what I can do.
The Heat definitely need a large presence down the middle. We definitely need something that can stuff the inside. What do you think if we acquire Greg Oden's penis? I'll hang up and listen.
NBA Insider?
Not the candidate for the Heat. Pat Riley doesn't like that man.
Mike, you're on with our NBA Insider.
What's it going to get rid of Michael Beasley? I cannot stand him. Please tell me there's a good chance somebody else wants him.
Michael Beasley, does he have any value, NBA Insider?
Beasley? Maybe some. It's still on the running.
Gab, you're on with our NBA Insider.
Okay, after LeBron and Bosh take up all the money, you think we'll re-sign Smush Parker?
Parker, not a chance. Not enough money.
Umberto, you're on with our NBA Insider.
Hey, how you guys doing? Listen, I have a question. Do you think it will be appealing for Chris Bosh to come down here if we maybe try to get Joe Johnson to have that trio that, Joe Johnson is not 35 points per game, but it is a solid 20, 28, 27 per game guy. Do you think it will be appealing for him maybe to sign up with us if we try to get him?
Not a chance.
Dad, you don't know anything about the NBA.
That's right.
Love you. Gerald, you're on with our NBA Insider.
Hey, I'm a huge Spurs fan. I wanted to know if Spurs got any play inside this free agent.
Spurs NBA Insider.
What was the question? I didn't get it.
Who are the Spurs going to get?
Do you know where the Spurs play, NBA Insider?
Spurs, sure. They played in Texas.
Yeah,
What city?
good. What city?
That's all Texas. I'm not disclosing the location.
Ray, you're on with our NBA Insider.
Yes, Insider, I am just wondering if someone can get a Heat player that might speak Spanish, please.
No Spanish spoken.
Why not?
Wahoo, Carlos Arroyo.
¿Por qué no?
No Spanish. They don't have anybody who speaks Spanish.
Nahara?
Nada.
Daniel, you're on with our NBA Insider.
Are the Rockets going to pick up anybody like David Lee, Chris Bosh, Brad Miller?
Well, Bosh has a chance. That's the only one.
Name some NBA players. Name 5 NBA players.
Wait. Haslam. Bosh. LeBron. Who else you want?
That's 4.
Oh, no.
Name another one. You can come up with another one, NBA Insider.
What's the Russian guy? What's the guy's name?
The Russian guy?
Kirilenko?
Lebrinsky.
God, who?
The big guy. The guy that played for the, what's the guy's name?
Ivan Drago.
Igoskas?
No. The blonde guy. What's the guy's name?
Oh, the German guy for Dallas.
Who?
Oh, Nowitzki.
The German guy.
Demarbrisky. That's the guy. Demarbrisky.
Nabrisky.
We're back right after these words.
Dan Le Batard.
I'm a UM fan, and I haven't been that excited since maybe Brock Berlin's big game against the Gators, the big comeback. That's the most excited I've been watching UM football in a really long time.
I left that game at halftime, by the way. I lied to the entire audience and told them it was the greatest game I've ever seen live. But I left at halftime and went to P.F. Chang's. I thought that game was over.
Stugotz.
And I think I blasted some Canes fans for leaving early. I watched the second half eating Mongolian beef.
Here's Dan Le Batard and Stugotz on Sports Talk 790.
Lettuce reps.
The Ticket.
Mike, before I get to these thousands of calls here, and there are literally thousands of phone calls on the board, can you give, because people are asking.
I see 6.
Well, I see 6,000.
The big news, of course, Chris Volstead sent to the minors. Eat it, Chicago. Eat the Wang Dang Doodle. Eat your Luke Ridnour. Eat it. Do I sound like a professional journalist or just a tad like a homer? Look, I still don't think it's likely that LeBron ends up here, but it's closer to happening than it's ever been. I think if I had to put odds on this, I'd still put it at less than 50%, but it's never been closer than it is right now. All sorts of rumors all over the place. I got a text here. Dan, LeBron requested Miami Beach police to escort him tomorrow morning. I'm on the inside. The Miami Herald is chasing a rumor that he's already put an offer in on a $40 million home in Coral Gables, a palace. I can't wait for this cheesy LeBron James variety show tomorrow. He's going to come out juggling human heads, Danny Ferry and Mike Brown and John Paxson. How great has this thing been? And by the way, if I sound kind of lonely, it's because Hawk and Stugotz are on vacation, and I'm not making this up. Hawk and Stugotz happened by coincidence to be in New York together. These two guys who perpetually make fun of me for going to a Broadway play with Tony Kornheiser by accident today. Not making this up. By accident today. Hawk and Stugotz are at a play, A Gazillion Bubbles. When big news breaks, $7.90 the ticket is at A Gazillion Bubbles in New York. A Gazillion Bubbles. By happenstance, ran into Hawk, the producer of the show, when news breaks on 790. 790 is at A Gazillion Bubbles. What's the scene there near A Gazillion Bubbles, Stugotz?
I could have used a gazillion bullets for my brain.
Why?
Well, I don't know. Biggest day in South Florida sports in the last, 5 years, and I'm sitting at a gazillion bubbles with Hochman.
What is that? Is that like were there a lot of bubbles? What is it? A kids play?
It's a kids play, Dan. There was a gazillion bubbles.
And were you on your iPhone the entire time? Were you checking? Your Metro PCS phone the entire time, checking updates?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I was actually on both phones, my Metro PCS BlackBerry, which happens to work better in New York than my AT&T iPhone. But yes, I was on phone. I was checking updates. I was sending tweets out. I was checking Twitter. I am in the heart of Manhattan right now, and I got to tell you, Dan, I am on the scene. I'm reporting live here for $7.90 the ticket. New York City thinks they're getting LeBron James at 9:59 tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm. MSG stock has gone up. You have reported exclusively on $7.90 that Dwayne Wade was going to the Bulls. You reported that for several months. So now you're reporting exclusively that LeBron is going to the Knicks.
I'm reporting exclusively that LeBron's going to the Knicks. That was a lot closer than people thought, right? When I first started doing that, when I first started saying Wade to Chicago, people gave me a hard time. But I was a lot closer than many people thought I was going to be. And in fact, if Chris Bosh, do you agree with this? If Bosh agrees to go play with LeBron in Cleveland, Dwayne Wade's next move is to go to Chicago, right?
I think that's the important thing in journalism, to be really close to getting the story right. I think we can all agree. I think that we can all agree that you being close to getting the story right is all that matters.
I was close to.
He really were, Stugotz. He was. He seemed genuinely torn. And yes, I think you're right. I think that's what's funny about what's happening now. We were just talking about this. What's funny about what's happening now is everybody wants LeBron to leave his hometown, and they're the same people who would have killed Dwayne Wade for going to his hometown.
I know, but I think it's a little different because LeBron actually played in his hometown. Dwayne Wade's never played in the hometown, so I think it's a little bit different, right?
I mean, I guess, but his entire family's in the middle. Okay, let me do it this way to you then. LeBron's not in the middle of a divorce where he needs to be close to his kids.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, the people in Miami want LeBron James to do the same thing that they would have murdered Dwayne Wade for doing.
Yeah, there's no question about it. So correct me if I'm wrong. That's the feeling, right? Like in Cleveland, the feeling there is at 9:59 tomorrow, they're getting LeBron James. In Miami, the feeling is at 9:59 tomorrow, they're getting LeBron James. And here in New York, the feeling is at 9:59, they're going to land LeBron. That's fair, right?
Well, but the location, Greenwich, Connecticut, makes it difficult because if you're LeBron James and you're staying in Cleveland, wouldn't you just do it at your high school or something?
Yeah, I think Allen Houston has a house in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Really? What was the point?
I only offer that because I believe maybe he'll be doing the show from Allen Houston's house.
But what is the point of that trivial fact?
I'm in the heart of New York. I'm giving you New York information.
You just threw into the middle of our conversation. Your seat's empty here, and I was staring at you the same way I would if you had said that in front of me. I'm staring at an empty seat right now. Like, what is the point of that information?
I felt that stare from 12 states and thousands of miles away. I felt it through over the phone. I felt that stare.
All right. So Stugotz is reporting exclusively that Allen Houston has a home in Greenwich, Connecticut.
That is exactly what I am reporting. And Dan, if you're Dwayne Wade, can you knock it off with it was never about the money? It was completely about the... Don't go on SportsCenter today at 12:30 and tell the world it wasn't about the money. It was about the damn money.
But he says he's willing to take less money.
What was that?
He says they're willing to take less money.
They're not willing. They know LeBron's not coming there. They're not willing to take less money. Get out of here. Knock it off with that, Dan.
So where's he going?
I have him going to Allen Houston's house tomorrow night at 9 o'clock.
All right, doing the press conference from what, Allen Houston's theater room?
Yes, Allen Houston's theater room, yes. That's where I have him doing the press conference. Do you want to know who else has a house in Greenwich, Connecticut?
No.
I believe the great Sid Fernandez is out there as well.
Give me the review of a gazillion bubbles, please.
A lot of bubbles, then.
Give me more. Give me a little bit more.
I got to be honest. The host of the show, an Asian lady, she was smoking. I'd be interested to get Hawk's opinion on this because I could not take my eyes off of her. She was the star of the show. My kids are enjoying all the bubbles, and my wife is sitting next to me. My mom's to my left, so I got mom to left, kids to my right, Abby to my far right. sitting in the last seat. My kids are enjoying. They keep saying, "Best show, Dad, I've ever seen. Best show I've ever seen." And my eyes are glued to the star of the show, who's this Asian lady, who I got to tell you, she is smoking. She was hot. I'd be interested if Hawk had that same opinion. In fact, I'm pretty sure that he did.
So you're sitting there with your kids, and you're ogling another woman, and you're checking your phone and Twitter for updates on free agency.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
All right, well, that sounds like a good family time that you're having there. Fake Stephen A. Smith, you're on 790.
First of all, Dan, before I begin, I accept everyone's apology. Now, let me begin to pontificate. Is there any egg on my face? I don't think so. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh are now members of the Miami Heat. Thank you. Stephen A. Smith out. Peace.
Fake Cleveland Brown, you're on 790.
Dan, please don't feel bad for me. I'm a very well-endowed man. No one should ever feel bad for Cleveland. And we should pick up Bimbo Coles right off the bench. He still shoots. Me and him go to the Y every other day.
I don't believe in the chemistry stuff. I don't believe in
let's see what you got.
Because,
what do you got?
Because Ron Artest just won the championship. He never fit with that team. I've seen this Heat team win a championship with pieces that didn't really fit.
So he knows
what I want. Look at this. What are you doing it for me for? I'm going with the dream scenario that's being talked about right now.
I'm pushing this guy away from Miami, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't think he wants to play with Dwayne Wade. I don't think that's going to work.
Whatever the Heat said in 3 hours, how is it going to make up for the $35 or $40 million he's got to leave on the table? And that's going to be the toughest part of the conversation.
You know, it's easy for these guys to say, hey, leave $30, $40, $50 million on the table because they want you to sign with that team. But nobody in their right mind is going to leave $30, $40, $50 million on the table.
It's the $40 million. And Pat Riley can dress beautifully and talk slickly and fire people up and get people tearing up. $40 million.
Dwayne Wade is signing with the Chicago Bulls, not Miami.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, man, it's very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Woo! Here comes the giant royal penis! South Beach, open your legs! He won 66 games without Dwayne Wade! He's the best player in the world, but he might not be the best player on this team! Chris Bosh, you're the third best player on this team! New York, welcome to another decade of irrelevance! Cleveland's owner is a crazy person! Happy LeBronica! Give it to me again! Give it to me again! I'm not done! Give it to me again! Our half-full sports bar exploded in joy! Run the point night! One lucky fan gets to run the point! Every night for the Heat, it helps under the salary cap! The lucky fan gets to keep the jersey! New York, welcome to another decade of irrelevance! Stugotz, are you feeling it?
Oh, I'm feeling it, Levitz.
Riley got everybody!
He got them all!
Discounted! Gangster! Pimp! Don! Godfather! He got them all! Everybody wanted one of them! He got them all! Discounted! Holla! Purple drank! Size matters, but it's the thickness and the width they want! A double rainbow! A double rainbow!
I want more!
Rock me! Give it to me again! Give it to me again! Ladies, get ready to wash the giant royal penis! A two-time MVP in his prime! He's 20! 20, please! even 5 years old. I don't even know if he's the best player on this team. Who cares? Who cares? Our half-full sports bar, Stugotz. Did you see the way it erupted?
Oh, I did.
7 people wearing Heat jerseys.
I counted 12 at the ale house.
Oh, God. Stugotz is up in New York. If you want to talk about this, feel free. 786-360-0790. This is the only happy sports city in the United States.
That is it, man.
Everybody.
This is the only one. They're miserable up here, man.
It's an unbelievable hatred that's getting spewed down here, and what an unbelievable decision this dude made. Think about what happened here, Stugotz, because he had the most to lose. You would agree that? You would agree with that?
Oh, he absolutely, yeah. He had the most to lose, no question.
And he was the most valuable player. So the most valuable player in free agency, not just the trophy holder, but the most valuable player in free agency with the most to lose, chose to lose the most to win the most. You know what I mean? Like he chose to go from hero to GOAT. Guy wrote in today, Stugotz, I thought it was funny. He said he was feeling some guilt. And he said because he feels like he just had dirty, dirty sex with the super hot wife of the pale, nice guy in accounting.
It's funny.
It is funny, right?
It actually is very funny. He's feeling, he didn't realize what the reaction was going to be at his hometown. That's strange, Dan. You make fun of me and my self-awareness issues. I don't have any.
Look at what LeBron sacrificed to be down here. Wade didn't sacrifice anything.
Nothing, Dan. But doesn't LeBron get that back? How quickly? Tiger showed up to Augusta and got standing ovations. Didn't even win the thing.
No, hold up the trophy. It's got to be holding the winning. Will
okay, so when he holds up the trophy, if they hold up the trophy, when he holds up the trophy next June, and please do not invite Shaquille O'Neal. Don't ruin this good day by inviting Shaquille O'Neal back to the Heat because they don't need him. But when he holds up that trophy, you know how to get that in there, Dan. When they hold up the trophy in June, is all forgiven as far as LeBron James is concerned.
Kobe might have raped someone, Stugotz.
Yeah. Well.
Although it wasn't an entire city. Somebody writes in, what has pissed me off the most, aside from the generic Miami bashing from the national media, is the doublespeak going on. They have criticized James for taking the easy way out, but then, under the same breath, say he should have gone to Chicago because it was the better team. That is odd, isn't it, Stugotz? Julian, you're on 790.
Yeah, I was calling because I got 2 questions to ask you. I was calling because the Big Three should be called the Terminators. And the other question was that since this guy likes Pat Riley likes point guards that are veterans, you think Jamal Tinsley, is he a free agent? You think he'll be a good picker?
Stugotz?
Love him. Get him. Former All-Star, I think. Yeah, get that guy. Iverson, too.
Stugotz! The joke there is you gave that guy a voice, but you can't help yourself. You had to comment on Jamal Tinsley.
You gave me a voice.
Stugotz, I loved the joke up there for you. All you had to do was say you gave that guy a voice.
Now, normally, I nail those jokes. Give me credit 99% of the time, but that was in my wheelhouse. I wanted to break down Tinsley.
Did you think about going for the joke there, Stugotz?
Absolutely did. But again, wheelhouse, wanted to break down Tinsley. I think he's in Memphis. I'd like to bring Hardaway back.
It's too late for the jokes now, Stugotz. You've angered me, and I'm not going to smile through my anger at you. I lobbed it up there for you. I was the sidekick there, Stugotz. I just tossed it up there for you.
Yeah, I know.
Will, you're on 790. Will, you're on 790.
A couple of things. First, you guys know what's going on with fatheads today?
Yeah, but you go ahead and tell the audience if you want.
Yeah, Fatheads right now, LeBron Fathead, $17.41, the same year that Benedict Arnold was born. And if you're wondering, Dan Gilbert, a major investor in Fathead. But the real reason I called is because I'm wondering when people are going to start blaming ESPN for this whole media-driven hype machine. They've been driving 1,000 miles an hour for 2 years, leaving LeBron out there to dry on national public television, and just letting it go as, oh, we're reporting the news. But in all honesty, you have to assume that they had a whole part in this charade that's been going on for a couple of months.
It was awful, on top of awful, on top of awful, on steroids. And I don't know, Stugotz, because LeBron's not an innocent here, but I don't know who was the whore in the whorehouse. I just know we were in a whorehouse.
So it's a no on Tinsley, then.
Bill Simmons next.
Dan Le Batard.
Fractured testicle.
Stugotz.
Nope.
This is Sports Talk 790.
Anal fissures.
The Ticket.
He's the most popular sports columnist in America, Bill Simmons, the sports guy of ESPN.com, but he hates Miami as a sports town. Regularly makes fun of Miami. It's not true.
I don't hate anybody. I don't hate Miami as a sports town.
I
think it's a bad. You admitted today. First of all, I've talked to you more today than I talked to my wife. But you admitted today when you came on my podcast that Miami is a little bit of a front-running basketball city. Would you agree?
Of course.
Okay, that's my only thing. I think it's a worthwhile thing to make fun of, but that doesn't change the fact that you guys are going to own the basketball spotlight now for the rest of this decade.
Well, one of the
Congratulations.
One of the things that I'm confused by, though, and I just don't understand it, is you seem to think differently. You're a big Celtics fan. You seem to think very differently about what the Celtics did a couple of years ago and how that worked, as opposed to what Miami just did. You have a lot of questions for some reason about what Miami just did as to how it will play out, and I don't get that. What are you doing there?
All right, so there's two things. First of all, the first question is how will it play out this season, which I don't think that it's the slam dunk, they should be the heavy favorites to win the title scenario that everybody seems to think, because you need 8 guys to win an NBA title. You need to be able to play defense. You need to rebound. You need to have depth. You need to have a couple role guys who are going to step up. And I just know from watching that Celtic team 2 years ago, they already had Rondo and Perkins in place, and America didn't realize that those guys were actually ready to play big minutes on a good team. And then we had Posey and Eddie House and P.J. Brown, and all of those guys, had they not had big moments in the playoffs, we wouldn't have gotten out of round 2. I say we because I feel like I'm on the team. So you need to find guys like that, as far as I'm concerned, before I can say you're the heavy favorite to win the title. And is the Mike Miller thing, is that done?
Yes.
That's a good one, I got to say. So now you got 4, and now you need to get lucky with one.
No, you don't.
Rebounder, shot blocker type.
No,
I don't know if that Varnado that they drafted, I don't think he can be the guy.
It doesn't
you need
matter.
One guy to bang bodies.
It doesn't matter. They don't have to get somebody known to bang bodies. They'll just get some guy who bangs bodies, and he'll become Kendrick Perkins.
Let's not see that. I don't buy that, because you look at what happened to the Celtics in the last 2 games of the finals in Los Angeles when they lost Perkins, and you had guys like Sheldon Williams in there. You had Tony Allen playing big minutes. Like, at some point, these guys are going to have to come through, and if you don't have the right 8, it's not going to happen. And for people to say that you can win a title with a 3-man team, I just don't think is true. And the other thing we talked about was Garnett was the best defensive player in the league when the Celtics got him, and defense wins championships. That's the thing we've learned every year. The Heat have put together an unbelievable offensive team. We can all agree. This is the best version of the Don Nelson Warriors or the Phoenix Suns with Nash. This is a better version than that. They're going to score a ton of points. But I still, in the playoffs, it comes down to who wins the paint, who gets to the rim. Like, look at how you guys won in 2006. You won because you were tougher. You protected the paint. Like, those were the reasons you won. So it's hard for me to fathom that a team can win just with offense.
Bill, they didn't win because they were tougher and protected the paint. They won because Dwayne Wade was scoring 40 points a game.
Yeah, but they were tougher though. They controlled the inside. Like they shot more free throws. They got more rebounds. They kind of manhandled that Dallas team, and Dallas got taken out by the refs. And they had Shaq. Dallas didn't totally have an answer for Shaq, and they had Haslam and they had Walker. Those guys were tough, and they played great defense. And they shut down Dallas.
Walker and Jason Williams were tough and played great defense. That's what you just said.
They did that year. Riley did a miracle with his coaching job that year, and I still think that was one of the best coaching jobs ever. Those guys went into Dallas in Game 6 and completely shut them down and played as good defense as we've seen the last 10 years. So listen, I'm as surprised as you, but you need defense to win championships is the point.
Bill Simmons, the sports guy, with us on ESPN. I just don't understand why you're concentrating on the small stuff when they just got the guy who won 66 games without Wade and Bosh.
Who said I'm concentrating on the small stuff?
The role players, the defense, who's going to share the ball, how will they share the ball?
I think the share the ball thing is a big deal, and somebody is going to have to take a backseat to somebody, and I can't wait to see how that works out. As a basketball fan, I think that's going to be the most entertaining running subplot of this whole thing. I think Wade is just a better crunch time scorer. I think he's more reliable. I think he's the closest we've seen offensively to Jordan since Jordan, and I would even put him above Kobe in that regard because I just think he just has such a wide range of things he can do, and he's unselfish. And in the last 4 minutes of a game, who would you rather go to? I personally would rather go to Wade than LeBron, who I think he's a little bit unreliable, jump shot, seems to kind of fade from the moment a little bit. We saw it a few times. I could see him deferring to Wade, but I'm fascinated. I can't wait to see how that plays out.
I don't understand why you're concentrating on defense when and then ignoring that LeBron James and Dwayne Wade are all defensive team players.
Yeah, but they're going to have to really play defense on this team. They're going to have to play 44 minutes a game. And who's going to guard? So we talked about the Lakers in the podcast. So Wade is going to have to guard Kobe. He's going to have no shot blocker behind him, really. And then Bosh is going to have to guard Gasol. So who guards Bynum? Could you Jamal McGlure? Do you drag him out from the scrap heap for another year? Who's going to guard Bynum?
Best guess. They're in the finals this year, yes or no?
I need to see who else they get.
Oh, my! You gotta be
too big of a hypothetical. I'm sorry.
You need to see who the eighth guy on the bleeping bench is before you make.
I need to see who 5 through 8 is.
Oh my God! What difference does it make who 5 through 8 are?
You're right. This is an action movie. We're making an action movie. We're not making an NBA championship team.
They've got 3 guys better than the 3 guys the Celtics had. They've got 3 guys who are not a little bit better. A good deal better than the 3 the Celtics did this with.
I don't agree with that. I think they're a lot better offensively, but
Paul Pierce is better defensively. Ray Allen is better defensively. Look,
Garnett was the best player in the league defensively in 2008 and won the Defensive Player of the Year award. And the reason they won that title was because of defense. So I don't know. I don't really know if that's a fair comparison.
You're on the other side of the country. If you were here, I would punch you in the larynx.
And I punch you back.
In the esophagus. I would cripple you. I just don't understand. Like, everything about the Celtics that you're saying, we had this conversation 2 years ago. I've had it a million times. Don't you remember the Celtics got those 3 and everyone was saying the same garbage? Oh, I've got to see the 5th guy on. I worry about their point guard situation. You can't just win with 3 guys and all that stuff.
All right. Do the Celtics win without Posey, House, and P.J. Brown?
Yes.
No,
somebody else.
They lose in round 2 to Cleveland. You're wrong. You don't remember the specifics of the series.
Somebody else would have been Posey and House. You're talking about bleeping Eddie House.
You're crazy. You didn't watch those games then.
No, but somebody can
be
team that.
Sport. You can't win with 3 guys.
Bill, I've seen Damon Jones be Eddie House. There are a million Eddie Houses in the league. If you play with those 3 guys, it doesn't matter.
Okay, but how are you getting those guys? Is my question.
They're going to line up outside the arena tonight at a party we're having at 8 o'clock. They're going to line up behind me and see if someone will answer their calls on the dais because they're not going to be able to get close enough to the stage to get an audience with the 3 of them.
does that have to do with who are they going to get from guys 5 through 8?
Oh, it doesn't matter what 5 through 8. If we'd been having this conversation 2 years ago, Bill, or was it 2 years ago that this happened with the Celtics?
Okay, but what's the difference between 2010 and 2008 for the free agent climate? The difference is nobody is going to take a one-year showcase my stuff deal because I know a year from now I'm going to get paid more money. So if I'm on this good team, that'll raise my profile. There's going to be a lockout in a year. People are grabbing contracts. I don't know if you've noticed what's happening, but everybody is grabbing the money. Nobody is waiting to see, where can I fit in for 1 year and showcase myself? That's not happening this year.
All right, Bill, Raja Bell wants to be down here. Raja Bell's from here. He wants to be down here.
Ooh, congratulations. He was washed up 2 years ago.
But as opposed to what, though, Bill? Like 6th, 7th, 8th guys with the Celtics. If we were having this conversation 2 years ago, I would have said, woo, Rajon Rondo, woo, Kendrick Perkins. You can't do anything with those, and I would have been wrong.
Okay, but who is the Rajon Rondo or Kendrick Perkins on your team?
They'll figure it out because somebody will be made that by those three guys.
So Rajon Rondo, who is now one of the best 15
he was a nobody.
You're going to stumble into that.
Bill, he was a nobody. He was terrible his rookie year, and he was a nobody.
He wasn't terrible. He didn't get played. You didn't see the games. He wasn't played by Doc Rivers.
Why?
I picked him to win Rookie of the Year. I thought he was great in preseason. They just didn't play him. And Perkins got a $16 million contract before that 07-08 season. I don't think you're going to find guys like that. I'm just telling you. If you do, then LeBron and Wade and Bosh have more power behind the scenes than we gave them credit for.
Bill
they
Simmons
can convince these guys to play with them for no money. Hello?
I'm here. I'm just furious with you right now.
Well, why are you getting mad at me? You're going to have a contender for the next 10 years. You're definitely going to win the title 2 years from now. Lock it up.
Because it's not about the team, and it's not about your homerism versus my homerism. It's just that some of the things that you're believing in, that the seventh player on a team like this would matter.
You keep saying seventh. What about the fifth player? Who's the fifth guy that you have in crunch time?
Who cares? In crunch time? You just told me.
Who cares?
What? In crunch time?
Let me ask you this. Who made the two biggest shots of Game 7 of the 2010 Finals?
Well, who was it? Was it Derek Fisher?
Derek Fisher and Ron Artest. Mm-hmm. The sixth best player of the team in the fourth.
Right. And
right.
Derek Fisher
and Kobe went 6 for 24 in Game 7, and they won. You think this Miami team is going to beat anybody if Dwayne Wade goes 6 for 24 in Game 7?
This is what I'm telling you, though, Bill. Derek Fisher was made Derek Fisher, just like Robert Horry was made Robert Horry, because of who they played with. They'll find someone else who will become Robert Horry or Derek Fisher because they're playing with these three guys.
So you think it's like acting, where you have you drag somebody into a scene, and just by being around the other good actors, they're miraculously going to become a good actor?
Damon Jones led the league in threes with Shaq and Wade. And after that, it was Jason Capono. You play with those guys, you do whatever you want. Like, who the hell was Damon Jones?
You got the Mike Miller. But you still had a shot blocker, and you still had guys that could out-rebound basically everybody you played. You're not going to have that this year. You're not going to get more rebounds than the other team with the team you have. And you're not going to protect the rim. Anybody is going to be able to drive to the basket on the Miami Heat team unless you luck out and get somebody who's like a legitimate shot blocker, or somebody who could at least get 6 fouls and play 30 minutes and get you like a 10-9. Like even Eric Dampier. Let's say they convinced Eric Dampier to come for 1 year for no money. Like, even that would make me feel better, but he would never do it. Like, you can't even get that caliber of guy, I don't think. Why does this make you so mad? I don't understand.
Because you and I just don't agree on, like, any of the things. Like, you
we'll see who's right. Let's do a $1,000 bet for charity.
Let's make it $10,000.
No, let's make it 1,000. Make it 1,000 that in November you are not going to be deliriously happy about 5 through 8 guys on this.
What's the bet? Tell me what the bet is. I will happily bet you $1,000 that the Miami Heat will win the title this year. How's that? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anybody on their team. They could do, I'm not kidding you when I say, they could do play the point for a night, fan night, every day of the season.
So you're giving me the field and you have Miami, even bet.
Yes.
$1,000 to the other person's charity.
Even though I know it's not a prudent way to bet, yes, I would happily give you that bet. It doesn't matter who plays around them.
All right, we're in. You guys, Stugotz is a witness.
All right. Stugotz is the
Stugotz like sucking his thumb in the corner because he's upset that his parents are fighting? What's going on?
He's in New York. Stugotz, how do you feel about all this?
Well, Bill, listen, I think I probably share more of your viewpoints on sports, but you sound ridiculous here. In a sport where they can only play 5 and they have 3 of the top 5, you know they're going to win 4 or 5 championships here, Bill.
Yeah, but the whole argument is this season, though. I'm not arguing that.
Bill, they're going to win 70 games, and they're going to win the championship, and you know that. And you're worried about the 4th guy coming off the bench.
I don't see any way you win 70 games unless you guys get incredibly lucky with the 5th, 6th guys.
How many did he win in Cleveland without Bosch, without Wade? Wade won 47. Wade won 47 with a horrible team last year, and he just added LeBron and Bosch.
I know, but you're basically saying that you're getting 82 games out of each of these guys.
Yes.
Guaranteed.
I mean, what you're
these
saying...
These guys playing 44 minutes a game, 82 games a year, you're going to get that.
Yeah, well, Bill, how about this? If Bosch goes down, they're still the best team in the NBA.
I mean, they'd be the best small ball team in the NBA.
Yeah, well, best team in the NBA. No, they'd be the best team. They would have LeBron and Wade, and they'd be the best team in the NBA.
We will see. I'm very curious to see how this alpha dog thing works out with them. And I know Le Batard doesn't believe in that stuff, but
Bill, if the starting
we've
lineup,
never seen a situation like this.
If the starting lineup, if they don't make another move, and it's Mario Chalmers, Miller, Wade, LeBron, and Bosch, you don't think that 5? Chalmers becomes Rajon Rondo, and that 5 wins an NBA championship.
Oh my God!
No, he does. No, he becomes something. He becomes something
right.
close.
He's definitely going to become Rajon Rondo. I totally see that.
He becomes something close to that.
He does?
I think, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't even know how to respond to that.
With a better jumper.
On top of it, I still don't think that's better than any team the Lakers tried out in a series if they're healthy. You really think that's going to beat the Lakers?
Who's 3 would you rather
Chalmers
have?
And Mike Miller as your 4th and 5th guy with no bench? That's going to beat the Lakers?
Bill, whose 3 would you rather have? You take this 3 over any 3 in the history of the NBA. Forget about this year's Lakers team, who barely squeaked by an aging Celtics team. In fact, should have lost that series. And you know
I'd
that.
actually take a couple 3s over the 3s that you just mentioned.
No, you wouldn't.
I would, because first of all, you're totally overrated Chris Bosh, who's never played a meaningful game in his life. I agree he's a top 20 player, but he's the only big guy in this team in this scenario.
Do you buy into the Hollinger stuff, the efficiency rating, any of that? Because he has these 3. It's LeBron.
You know what I buy into? Playoff appearances, and whether you're good or not. He missed the playoffs 5 or 7 years.
In Toronto.
He's never made it into round 2. How good could he be?
Well, how good is Garnett?
I agree that he's good.
Garnett didn't make it into round 2.
How good was Ray Allen?
Garnett was a guaranteed 50-plus wins in his prime with no matter who he played with. Bosh is a guaranteed lottery appearance if you give him a bad team. I agree that he's good. He's on that level. He's on the level of Amari Stoudemire and Pau Gasol. Put him with good teammates, and he might be a lot better than he is.
Let's do it this way, Bill. You've got the Celtics roster. Let's do it this way. Right now, I give you a trade. I'll give you what we have right here in Miami for what you have in Boston. You want to trade, yes or no?
For one season?
Right now, today, this minute.
Well, it'd be more fun to watch your team.
No, not fun.
The team that you have right now, the 4 guys, and how bad are the next 4 guys?
No, just these 4. Will you take these 4 for your Celtics this year that made it to Game 7 of the Finals? Yes or no?
Yeah, but so you're comparing against last year's Celtics or the upcoming Celtics?
No, last year's Celtics. The team that right now, that
was a pretty banged-up team. I actually kind of probably like that. I would probably go with the Miami 4.
Get out of here, Simmons. We'll talk to you later. I am so mad at you right now. You
asked me to stir it up. What do you want from me?
I'm insane. I'm insane right now.
Hey, Le Batard, by the way.
Yeah.
Le Batard?
Yes.
Could you guys not take the 20 minutes after I hang up to trash me after I kids film myself? I know it's a tradition on the show, but when you come on my podcast, I don't trash you afterwards and talk about what he's such a douche.
I always defend you.
It's not professional.
I always defend you.
It's not. Because it's not like people get paid to come on the show, you know?
No, it's Stugotz.
You guys are the ones that get paid when other people come on your show.
Bill, I won't trash you for 20 today. I'll trash you for 40.
It's Stugotz and Hawk that kill you. It's not me. Yes or no, Stugotz? I'm always protecting him. Always defending him.
Bill.
It just makes you guys look bad. I don't care about me. It just makes you guys have a good show. I don't think you need to do that.
Bill, in his defense, he's always protecting you. He is.
Well, I appreciate that. Take care, guys.
Although not anymore. Limited Fake, Eric Mangini. You're on 790.
Don't worry, Cleveland. I'll save you.
Logan Morrison, up and comer, and Gabby Sanchez having a very productive rookie year. Do you see a position change for Gabby Sanchez, or any chances we see both of them in the future, or is Gabby going to be traded?
I'm sorry, Dan. Help me with the question, please.
I don't know, something Gabby Sanchez related. I mean, I don't even know. I was half paying attention to him. And Tim, you got to stop this with the help me with the question stuff because it makes me listen to the show more than I want to. When the Dolphins got Trent Green as their quarterback, he was motivated to song. This is bigger than anything we've ever seen in South Florida sports, so I'm sure it will motivate the fake Pavarotti. Here is some of his best work.
Trent, we finally have a quarterback who can throw the ball or down the field. Our offensive line will have you saying that it's not easy being green. Oh, your brain has wiggled inside your skull. And once you lost your job to a bag boy, a grocery clerk, religious freak. But you're not a cripple cavorting with whores out on a lake, or named after citrus that puckers up your face. We need your arm, we need your leg, we need your screwed up noggin too. The Dolphins need a miracle since Saban screwed the pooch. Trent, we love you, but that's not all you see. Our head coach, he loves your family. Cam loves you and you love Cam. A pigskin orgy it will be. Come aboard and lead our blessed band to victory.
This is what's happened to me today. That's funny. 6 times it's happened to me today where someone is leaning out of a car, or I'm at the mall and somebody's coming by, and what they shout at me, and I'm just waiting. I hope that this happens when I'm with a woman at some point. It hasn't happened yet when I'm with a woman, but giant royal penis. Like, I want to spread my arms. I want to throw chalk up in the air like LeBron if they're going to shout that at me. 6 times today that's happened. But Raja Bell said before all this started, before this insanity started, that he wanted to be here.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he want to be here more now?
Yeah, these guys like Bell, it's gotten to a point, I said it last hour, they're all going to be choosing between Miami and Los Angeles. You can't blame him if he goes to L.A., Dan.
I can blame him if he goes to L.A. when he was saying on this radio station on Jorge Sedano's show a month ago, he was saying, please get me to the Heat. Pat, take me on the Heat. And that was before all of this. He just wanted to play in his hometown. Guy went to FIU. I once blocked his shot. Did I ever tell you this story?
Really?
This is a true story. He was, at the time, however, 12.
I was going to say, was he on crutches?
Yeah, it was the University of Miami. He would play with his dad at the University of Miami on campus when I was in school there. What a douche move by me, too, right?
Blocking 12-year-olds.
Swooping in. He might have been 14. Because I have these kind of conversations with my dad all the time. I had this kind of conversation with my dad all weekend. So here's the latest installment of us feloniously taping my father.
Hello?
Papi.
Dime, ¿qué pasa? Everything good?
Yeah, what did you think of what the Heat did?
Oh, Raleigh, buddy, Raleigh's the man. Everybody's hating the Heat now. They are hating you on the Heat. They hate people who matter. It's going to be a dynasty for the next 5 to 10 years now.
Who are you mad at?
I'm not mad at anybody. Everybody else in the country is mad at the Heat, especially New York. But they are mad now. They are mad at Pat Riley because he pulled another big one on them.
Who's mad?
The New York guys. Everybody from New York and everybody from Cleveland and everybody from everybody. Haven't you read the TV?
Read the
what
TV?
What can I tell you, buddy? That's the way it is. They're mad at the Heat because the Heat, they mean something now.
You've been calling people names all weekend.
Who, me? No, I'm not calling anybody names.
Dad.
Who did I call?
Lupica.
Well, I mean, Lupica, you know Lupica. I didn't call Lupica names. I said, I wonder what is Lupica doing now? Probably hiding under his desk. I mean, he hates Raleigh with a passion. So what can I tell you, buddy? That's the way it is. Raleigh Fikin.
You didn't call Bill Simmons any names?
Oh, well, I mean, Bill Simmons is a dork. I mean, you know, yeah, you got the basketball expert, the best guy in the expert, the one that knows everything about basketball. And at first they said it wouldn't come because there were $30 million or $40 million that they were not going to be able to absorb. And then after they passed that bridge, then they were talking about, you know, how is the bench? He's worried about the head guy in the bench. And this is the expert? Oh.
I've never
he's a dork, buddy. He's a dork.
I've never heard you use the word dork before, Dad. I've never heard you in all my life use the word dork.
Dork? Yeah, I mean, but you know, the guy, he should be playing with a beaker in his chemistry lab.
With a beak?
With a beaker, you know.
Well, why is he a dork, Dad? He's my friend.
Well, that doesn't mean that he might be a friend, but, you know, the guy, you know, I mean, you know, that doesn't mean anything that he's your friend. I'm entitled to my opinion. I mean, you know, what can I tell you?
But why a dork? What did he do to come off as...
The best, I mean, you know, this is the biggest event in NBA history, and this guy is worried about the eighth guy in the bench. Are you supposed to be a basketball expert? Come on, give me a break, buddy.
Well, people used to faint when Michael Jackson would come out. People would faint when the Beatles came out. They literally would faint. Like that, I mean, sometimes you just get so moved by what you see that your reaction is just, I mean, like you can't contain yourself.
Well, now, Zazzle, you're a huge Heat fan, and when the Heatles came out, when the Heatles came out, you felt how?
Oh, my God. I couldn't even speak. I couldn't speak. I jumped right off the couch. Like I clapped my hands like that, you know, right when he said South Beach. I really don't even remember what happened for the next couple of minutes. I didn't say anything. My wife was sitting there watching me, well, had a smile on her face, but the only thing you got at me, I leaped off the couch, I clapped my hands real quick, and I don't really remember the rest.
You don't remember?
I was so excited. I didn't hear anything that he said after that. I was just staring.
Hawk, why didn't we videotape that? Why didn't we send somebody over there to just videotape?
It would have been good either way, the positive or you're right.
Oh, of course.
But you don't think there was a lot of that reaction Friday night at the AAA when those guys were lowered down or rose up?
That was some kind of scene.
I mean, that had to be akin to a Beatles concert in the 60s, no?
Sobbing? I didn't see any. This guy begins sobbing in the middle of this. I didn't see any sobbing. I saw a great deal of enthusiasm. I didn't see a great many tears of joy for people who found out that the Miami basketball
Wait a second.
Arena,
Hold on. You said after VH1's Hip Hop Honors this year that people, because they honored the Dirty South and Two Live Crew.
That's right.
You said that people in Miami were moved to tears.
I said moved to a little sting in the eye. This guy was sobbing. I didn't say anybody was sobbing. No, you're misrepresenting me.
You said that people watching Uncle Luke and the Two Live Crew on VH1,
not true,
like a Tier 2 cable channel, were moved to tears.
Well, this celebration was on a Tier 2 cable channel. This was ESPN 2. This wasn't on regular ESPN.
But I'm talking about the people that were there.
News. Crappy ESPN, the worst ESPN. Do you realize how few people watched ESPN News?
I was into it.
They're thinking about ending ESPN News. And I mean, there's nobody watching ESPN News. In fact, you just called it a second-tier cable station. VH1 has much larger viewership than ESPN News.
I'm just saying that if you would suggest that
a little sting in the eye.
Come on, over Two Live Crew as opposed to the greatest NBA
signing.
Wait a
minute. It's not over Two Live Crew. No, what it is Miami pride. No, it's not over Two Live Crew. It wasn't over Pitbull. It wasn't over Trick Daddy. No, it was about pride of having Miami represented nationally. Don't tell me that's not in play now.
Well, that's exactly what's in play now. I think it's the same feeling,
but I didn't say anyone was sobbing like the double rainbow guy.
But here's the thing. Well, first of all, the double rainbow. You realize the double rainbow. That's Mother Nature signing the two biggest free agents in nature. That's Mother Nature pulling a Pat Riley and bringing two rainbows to the sky being Miami.
You've offended me. You really have. And you're going to need to take that back. And I want you to apologize right now to Pat Riley.
What are you talking about?
Apologize to Pat Riley, because Pat Riley is bigger and badder and more gangster than Mother Nature.
Nature, it took Mother Nature like 2 years to put that double rainbow together.
The rainbow is not even close to the level of Summer of Awesome. It's not even near it.
You need to take that back. The Godfather is bigger and more relevant than Mother Nature. Take it back.
I would say and I know this is going to sound, this is going to sound bad in Miami. The double rainbow, nationally and internationally, is more exciting than what happened here with Wade, Bosch, and James. You're laughing, but it's the truth.
It's just a bunch of colors.
Don't make that joke. You correct me if I'm wrong, Zaslow, but you wouldn't be surprised at this point if the double rainbow took less money to play for Pat Riley. Right? And if Mother Nature started burning souvenirs, Mother Nature started burning stuff wherever it is that Mother Nature lives in a rage because the double rainbow has joined Haslam, Miller. By the way, Z is coming down here too, Zilgauskas. Bill Simmons has already changed his tune. He's simply terrified. I mean, everyone is terrified of this basketball team because they're getting whomever they want. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. I want you to give me a rating for all the following nicknames for this Heat team. Are you ready?
Got it.
The Heatles.
5.
Trio 5. Trio. It's the area code of Miami. Trio 5.
8 or 9.
Threediculous.
Also 8.
Trinasty.
5.
What is there a duck in your car?
Okay, I'm in the car with my wife and infant daughter right now, getting back from the Hamptons to New York to do a CNN hit about Steinbrenner. But when it comes to the Le Batard Show, I mean, you got me in a lineup with Charles Barkley and Jim Brown. What's the matter with you?
Did she give birth to a duck?
By the way, she makes more sense, my 20-month-old daughter, about LeBron and Bosch going down to Miami to join Wade than most commentary I've heard.
Max, I cannot believe the amount of obvious envy and hatred being directed at this thing that it's staggering to me.
It's partly that people have been conditioned by the man, Dan, to really be against labor, against themselves. Like, you think about it, if some GM had constructed trades and sign-in trades and whatever else to get the exact same players on the team, no one would be saying anything. But instead, labor does it themselves. Labor controls their own destiny, and that bothers people. It's like the deepest that everyone wants to be able to do, but since they can't do it, they don't like it when they see it somewhere else. And part of it's because we're conditioned by these kind of hacks in the press who always cry about stuff like this. But the bottom line is, 3 guys in the middle of their life, in the middle of their youth, decide, hey, I want to play with my friends and win a lot and do it in Miami. And people are critical of this. It's unbelievable to me. That's one thing. The second thing that's hilarious to me is that everyone's like, well, this doesn't guarantee them anything. Still the Lakers have... Shut up. Yes, it does. You got the 2 best players in the world along with Kobe, and then another top 10 or 15 guy, and now you have, then it's like, well, how are they going to fill out the role players? How's the rest of the roster going to look? I don't know. Just like the ideal, most perfectly suited role players in the world, Mike Miller and Haslam and these guys. I mean, you guys are going to romp through the league.
I don't understand, though, why I haven't heard your viewpoint outside of South Florida. Like, I'm sitting here listening with my mouth open to people commentating on this and calling me a homer because I'm like, are you guys kidding? Will you look at what's just been assembled down here?
And really, to me, it's even like there's another issue, there's another dimension of it being a labor issue because Riley was with the Knicks. He wanted a piece of the team. Dolan was not going to give Riley a piece of the team. He said, you know what, I'm out. Miami gave him a piece, and he said, okay, you let me buy into this, and he got it done, the force of his personality. He got it done. It's if I was as a Knicks fan, it's killing me because it's like, how do you counteract what's been done in Miami now? I don't know. Is Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in their primes could counteract it? Really, you
it's like an absurd level of talent. And even the argument, well, how are they going to all play together? We just saw it. The Redeem team, the nucleus of the Redeem team was those three guys. The thing in him that he wanted to elevate, he didn't let his talent isolate him. He used it to elevate those around him. But the question with him was always, does he do that? Is he so willing to pass the ball because he doesn't want to take the last shot? Is he abdicating that responsibility? Or is he doing it truly because he wants to win, the way Michael Jordan would pass the ball later in his career to the open man? And I think his choosing the Heat and choosing to go to Dwayne Wade, who, by the way, is also a couple of years older, he's the big brother figure, in that group, indicates to people, and I include myself in that category, it kind of gives it away to me a little that LeBron is like this Shaquille O'Neal figure. He's this totally unstoppable physical talent, but he needs to be with an alpha dog killer to win championships. And he's not that guy. He needs to be with the Dwayne Wade or Kobe Bryant. And it's funny because when Shaq needs that guy, no one bats an eye. If Wilt Chamberlain needs that guy, it's fine because they're big men. Well, just think of LeBron as a big man because essentially it's the same thing. He's an unstoppable physical force who needs that crunch time killer with him. But, guys, he's got him. Dwayne Wade had the best finals since Jordan. I mean, I don't see how you beat this team.
I think the duck might have just said mama for the first time.
The duck has been saying, and she knows I'm on the phone. That's a bad duck.
Do you need any preparation here for the, what should we call it, the douche-ision?
I'm glad you said that to my face instead of after I was finished with the interview and then call it that. I think I need a drum roll.
Do you have a drum roll back there? Hold on, let me go to my crack production hack back here. He just shrugged his shoulders.
All right, let's pretend we had a drum roll. Oh, nice.
All right.
Rim shot. Yeah. Almost there. After being showered with love from the Miami Heat fans the last 3 days and being called a variety of insults that I didn't even know in some cases were insults, words being combined together that I'd never seen before, I've decided to move to Miami. What do you guys think?
You should come down here and be close to this power plant we've put down here.
Now, here's the thing. When I came on the show on Friday, I think, what is the stage of the 7 stages of grief? What is the denial stage?
You felt like you were at a wake for your Celtics or for basketball or for what?
For the Eastern Conference. I think I wanted so badly for this not to work, but now I spent the weekend thinking of how they added Mike Miller, the best 3-point shooter in the league, and Haslam, who I think is a backup power forward, but in this situation could work, and at least he's good defensively. You still don't have the interior defense, but I'm looking. I don't think they need a point guard. The more I'm looking at this, they could play LeBron and Wade and Mike Miller as the 1-2-3, a little like what the '96 Bulls had with the Harper, Jordan, Pippen thing. You don't need a point guard with those guys, and then they could play Haslam and Bosh, and that's their crunch time 5. And I'm trying to figure out how any team could handle that, and unless you had the Twin Towers like the Lakers have with the Bynum and Gasol thing, that's really the only way you're going to battle those guys in a 7-game series. So basically what I'm trying to say is I didn't think that they could win a title this year, and now I'm looking at this post-Miller signing, which I didn't have the luxury of on Friday, and I'm very, very, very concerned.
So Miller is the difference? Miller is
I thought you were getting 9 minimum guys. I didn't know that they had carved out this whole on July 1st when everything came together, obviously, and then we had to spend another 8 days pretending LeBron was deciding. Arn Tellem goes in the Huffington Post and writes a column about how on the first day, July 1st, Riley told him, hey, we're going to try to get LeBron, Bosh, and Wade, and you could be the 4th guy, and you could shoot open threes for the next 5 years, take a little less money, what do you think? I didn't know that was all in the works. I mean, he took a $12 million less than he could have gotten, probably. This is a league that just gave Al Harrington $34 million. And now Haslam coming back, which I didn't think they had enough room to do that either. Now you have 5 guys. Chalmers a backup. You're going to have Z. The only thing you need fouls, and you need one guy who can rebound, basically, and you're good to go for 70 wins.
So what you're saying is here, the big announcement is you're taking your apology to South Beach.
No, I'm not apologizing. I'm just saying I'm now in the 7th stage of grief, which is acceptance.
I mean, there's no way this team doesn't club teams over the head with its dong. Like, I mean, that's all they're going to spend the time doing. Like, it's ridiculous. They're gonna go after the largest average margin of victory in the history of the sport.
Well, and you know they'll get one February buyout guy because those guys are always available, and they might even get two. But the point is, right now, regardless of who else they sign, they have enough to make it through the first 4 months of the season and be really, really good. And then if they luck out and they get one guy who can rebound, and it sounds like they'll get Joel Anthony back, right?
Yes.
Is it Joel?
It's going to be that. It's going to be. It sounds like if they do it with Arroyo and they do it with Jamal McGlure, former All-Star.
Well, McGlure's done. But you need fouls is the thing. Is you're going to need, because they don't have a real center and Bosch doesn't want to play center. So you need at least 12 fouls that you can dole out against the three big men that are left in the league.
But it sounds like they're going to have the team that was a first-round playoff exit last year plus LeBron and Bosch.
Right.
And Mike Miller.
And Mike Miller. It's Mike Miller in the Quentin Richardson role. He's better.
This is insane. It's insane. What we're witnessing is totally insane.
Well, I had a podcast today where I was trying to figure out the ways that this couldn't work, and here are the 4 ways. Ready? Number 1, the end of the game thing, if that just becomes super weird, which the odds of that are slim. I get it. It does seem like LeBron is going to defer. But if for whatever reason that gets screwed up, maybe that will screw them up enough in a 7-game series that could be a problem. Second one, women. Now, LeBron and Wade are used to when they go out with their boys, they get first pick of the litter because they're the superstar. So what happens when these guys go out together? What if there's a group of girls, there's top 5 girls, or 5 girls come over, and the top one, the best-looking one, LeBron and Wade decide, kind of want to step in with that one. Hey, with the old days in the NBA hierarchy, the superstar got the spoils. What happens if both of these guys decide could we have a Tony Braxton type situation is where I'm going with this.
Tell the people what that is. That's Jason Kidd and
Jamal Mashburn. The Dallas in the mid-'90s, they split up over Tony Braxton because 2 of the guys fell in love with Tony Braxton at the same time, and it demolished the team. So what I'm going to do as a Celtic fan is I'm going to try to get women to come between these guys, even if I have to pay them. Number 3, injury. Got to these guys are going to be logging a lot of minutes.
But here's the thing, Bill. Let me stop you on that one because you and I talked on your podcast. I'd maintain, and tell me if you think I'm wrong now that you've come around to the dark side, I'd maintain that even if Dwayne gets hurt next year,
LeBron could do his thing.
They're still the Eastern Conference favorite.
Well, I'm saying it depends on the timing of the injury. If these guys, if somebody goes down. Listen, I'm just telling you the straws that I'm holding on to right now. And number 4 is karma. And this is where I'm really holding my hat. Because the karma of what LeBron did to the poor, downtrodden city of Cleveland and the way that he executed them, will that come back to haunt him? Those are the 4 things I'm holding on to, Le Batard. I'm just a messenger.
You got nothing.
I got 4 things. I got 4 straws. They're tiny.
They're pathetic. They're wilting. They're impotent.
What am I going to do? What, stop watching basketball now? I have to give up? We just handing the 10 titles over the Heat?
Well, that's the thing one of the many things here that I don't know what the most surprising thing is here, that they're all in their prime. But I'll tell you one thing, Bill, that I can't believe. Tell me if you've experienced this the same way that I have. Yeah. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the cover of Sports Illustrated. I'm looking at the posters. I'm looking on stage during this introduction. And LeBron James is allowing Dwayne to have the middle. Like he's LeBron bleeping James is off to the side. He's chosen this. I'm still I've never seen it. I've never seen it in the history of sports. The things that you think might break apart a team, LeBron James is telling you he's okay with at the beginning anyway.
Well, we saw this happen 2 years ago, or actually now 3 years ago, when Garnett and Allen came to the Celtics, and they made a really big deal about this is Paul Pierce's team. And at the time, it was weird because Kevin Garnett at the time was one of the best 25 players ever. And Paul Pierce was somebody that had never played in a finals game and had been in a couple All-NBA teams. And they were kind of going overboard with no, he's the captain. We came here to help him win a title. And maybe it was half BS or a third BS or whatever. But they really did commit to that and buy into that. And I do wonder if LeBron, here's where you might be giving LeBron a little too much credit, because this is the same guy who did the 1 hour special announcing his decision and went and lied on national TV basically and pretended that wasn't decided 3 weeks before. But I do think that he has put some thought into that. Like, I can't go, and this is Dwayne Wade City. I just have to be, I have to just be along for the ride to some degree. And it is weird, because this is somebody who won back-to-back MVPs and is in 2008, I thought he was, if by all accounts, was basically the leader of that team. Kobe took over in the last game. But from everything we read, it did seem like LeBron was kind of the leader and the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak, in practices and on the plane and stuff like that. So it's weird that he would take a back seat to me. A little bit.
Bill Simmons has resorted to voodoo. That's a fight he's going to lose because...
I didn't say voodoo. I just said if you're from Cleveland, you're wishing bad things happen to this man. And you never know with that stuff.
I'm just saying, we've got you beat there. We've got Santeria on steroids. Like, we killed chupacabras, we killed goats. Like, you've got no shot here. We come back with Bill Simmons after this. All right. Bill Simmons, the sports guy, with us on 790 The Ticket. He has changed his mind. Now, I spent an hour on your podcast last week and a half hour on the show trying to change your mind with zero success. No success. So what happened here? Somebody got in your ear that you respect more than me? You talking to the Rockets general manager who's your friend? What happened here that changed your mind?
Nobody got into my mind. It wasn't until they got Mike Miller and I came to grips with the fact that they had signed Mike Miller that I started seriously thinking about, all right, so what is this team going to look like? And then when Haslam, so now you have 5 guys, you can play at crunch time of a game, which I didn't think you were going to be able to have. And I think the key for me was realizing, because I was so hung up on, who's going to play point guard for this team? They don't need a point guard. So I think once I passed that point of realizing that LeBron and Wade could just take turns bringing the ball up, and they can go 6'8.5", 280-pound LeBron playing point guard potentially with Wade, who's 6'5", I think, and then Mike Miller, who's 6'8". And those are your 1, 2, 3 guys. Like, teams, that's a nightmare. I don't know how teams match up with that. And they might have a little trouble with, checking Chris Paul, somebody, a real speedy 6'1" guy, and maybe that's where you have to bring in Chalmers or something like that. But for the most part, it's going to be a tough matchup. And also, I've gotten the hangover of just being so disappointed in LeBron for how he left Cleveland, and also for picking to play with Wade over picking to have his own dynasty and his own gang, basically. And now it's been, 5 days? So 6 days. Just as a basketball fan, I kind of can't wait to see how this plays out. And I'm for anything that where, everybody's going to watch this team, put it that way. Like, if I'm flicking channels on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night, and LeBron and Wade are playing for the same team, I'm probably going to watch that.
I know I've sounded like a total homer on this thing, but I am kind of amazed, Bill. I'm kind of amazed that the way he made this decision has somehow obscured the decision he made, which is kind of a remarkable one for a 2-time MVP in his prime. Like, what happened there? What am I missing there that is making that so? Because the decision that he made, the thing that he decided to come be a sidekick, to take less money, to build a super team, those are amazing and generally laudable things, and the whole thing is getting obscured by the fact that he did it so dumbly.
Well, and there's also the part of the generation that I grew up watching, as I've said many times, all of those guys would have wanted to beat Dwayne Wade. I don't think any of them would have wanted to team up with him. But I think, somebody in a Cleveland, I ran a bunch of Cleveland emails, and somebody had a good point about how, my generation grew up with John McClane and Die Hard. That was our hero. And this generation is Vincent Chase. It's Entourage. It's everybody being buddy-buddy and everybody being friends. So when you think about it, in this generation, LeBron's choice actually makes more sense than maybe it would have 20 years ago, because now all these guys are friends. Everybody knows each other. When's the last time you heard about bad blood between 2 NBA stars? Can you think of 3 examples? Yeah, like you just read this Ron Artest thing today, that he's going to an F LeBron party in Cleveland. That kind of stuff doesn't happen anymore.
It's Shaq with everybody. Grandpa Shaq with everybody.
Yeah, there's Shaq and Dwight Howard is the only case of 2 superstars where I feel like if they were on the All-Star team bus, it would be awkward. They'd be like, hey, how you doing? Because I remember, there's a famous story about Bird, and that those guys hated the Pistons so much that Lambeer didn't make the All-Star team, and Bird was happy about it, and they were like, why are you smiling? He's like, because I know when I'm on the All-Star team bus, Bill Lambert's, I won't have to look at Bill Lambert saying to me, "Hey, Larry," and I won't have to say, "F you, Bill." But that was the generation we grew up with, where the guys actively hated each other, and now guys actively like each other.
Well, this is the argument I would make. Bill Simmons, the sports guy with us on 790. The argument I'd make is LeBron wasn't going to be the new Jordan, and neither was Wade, because they were going to have to try and go through each other and everybody else. They're not going to get to 6 titles by themselves. So the way the new Jordan presents himself in the new generation is they team up to do it.
I know, but you're forgetting the past 7 years of LeBron, and I was included in this, really thinking that this guy had a chance to be the best basketball player of all time. Like that he combined, at anybody, he had the most of Magic and the most of Michael in him. He was the only one who had that on-off switch where in one quarter he could be Michael, and if you started double teaming him, he could immediately turn into Magic. And we've never been able to see a basketball player ever who could do that. And that's why, and also, here's the other thing. There's been a little revisionist history of how bad his Cleveland team was. You know, they won 66 and 64 games, something like that. They were the favorites in each playoffs going into the playoffs. And he had good players on it. You know, Varejão's a good player. Varejão, you can win a title if he's your gritty power forward. Like, for instance, he'd be a major upgrade on Udonis Haslem, I think. He had Mo Williams. Jameson is a guy who has made all-star teams. Ilgauskas was, at least 2 years ago, somebody who could spread the floor. Hickson, I thought, was good energy, got to bed. He did have pieces. It wasn't like he was playing with the 2010 New Jersey Nets. At the same time, this is obviously a whole other level, and he's never played with anybody as good as Chris Bosh, much less Dwayne Wade.
By the way, I still object to your idea, though, that Mike Miller is the key piece here. While they need shooters, they do need shooters, it presumes that if Mike Miller gets injured, somehow this thing's going to get derailed.
Well, no, I just think, and not just Mike Miller, that getting Haslem too, because although I don't think he's a starting power forward, he's somebody who could easily play 20 to 26 minutes a game for you, and he did in 2006. He's not as good as he was in 2006, but it's just different because, hey, as I made the argument on Friday, all these guys are grabbing money, and we've seen it this weekend, and we've seen it the last 2 days, that even people like Al Harrington are getting $34 million. So I don't think this whole thing about how guys were going to take less money, I still don't see that. And even if you look at the Miller-Haslem thing, these guys are still getting paid. And they still don't have to deal with the state tax in Florida and all that stuff. They get to live in South Beach. Haslem gets to stay where he is. He doesn't have to go buy a new house. So it wasn't that much of a sacrifice, I don't think. And also, when you look at people are talking about, LeBron and Wade gave up money. So they gave up, 8% of what they would have made? They're not going to be able to make that from marketing and from doing Nike ads together or whatever. Like, these people really think that these guys lost $12 million out of this whole thing?
Well, Haslem, I mean, it was a pretty cool thing that happened with them. We talked to Haslem a couple of days ago, and he told us how this whole thing happened, where Wade went to Bosh and LeBron and said, I need to keep Haslem on this team. That's my boy. That's my guy. And so they all took less money, Wade taking $18 million less, and Haslem ends up staying here for $12 million less than he could have gotten from the Mavs or the Nuggets.
So what was the Mavs offer? Like 5 years, $32 million?
Yes, it was. He said he left between $10 or $12 million.
Yeah, and the other part I didn't realize was that him and Mike Miller were so close. And now you have Z, and in the first chapter of my book, I wrote about The Secret and how the secret of basketball is there's been a lot of talented teams, but when you have the chemistry and the guys pulling for each other, that's when it can go to another level. And weirdly, you have a situation here where at least you have 6 guys in place now, or 7, not 6. 6 guys who are all friends and like each other. So if they could add to that, this could be the first NBA team we ever had where you have 12 guys who are buddies, who are hanging out together on and off the court, and are also winning 70 games. Like, we didn't see that with the
Bill. They could
the
fight.
96
They
Bulls.
could fight on the court, and they'd still beat everyone by 30.
Well, I'm just saying it's an interesting wrinkle to this, to have a team where guys are genuinely friends. And I think LeBron and Ilgauskas are definitely close, and Wade and Haslem are obviously close. And I don't understand how Mike Miller became close with these guys. And I don't understand how anybody becomes close with anybody in the NBA, but these guys all somehow. It'd be like me and you, like we're buddies, we want to play together. Like you and I have met like 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
Like how many times could Mike Miller have met these LeBron and Wade and hung out with them.
My father called you a dork. He was very angry. He was
in broken English, right? You said he was like very angry and almost incoherent.
Yes, he was very, very upset. Well, did you get anything clever from Miami making fun of you, or was it all just curses and hatred?
Well, Miami can only go so far because, as you have adeptly pointed out, the clip of the half-full sports bar going crazy is going to be the enduring image of Miami celebrating this. And I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And you guys could easily point to the fact that on a Friday night, somehow you packed American Airlines Center just so people could watch these guys come off some sort of crow lift and do some weird dancing and then get interviewed for 10 minutes. That was more impressive than the half-filled sports bar. And by the way, has anyone talked about how hard that would be to put that together in one day?
To put together the introduction that they had?
To put together that whole thing with the videos and to plan that whole thing. I've talked to people who work for NBA teams, and they said minimum a week to plan something like that.
They planned that 6 months ago.
You think so?
They did rehearsals 6 months ago. they had Bosh, LeBron, and Wade coming. All of this has been planned since the Dream Team.
Well, what about the fact that these guys Bosh and Wade committed to Miami, and then LeBron did, and none of them knew how much they were going to make? Have you ever heard of a scenario where somebody takes a job and has no idea what they're going to make?
Well, that's how I knew it was all done.
Of course, it was done in mid-June. Why do we have to pretend anymore? This was done in mid-June.
I just love that Dwayne Wade is sitting there and he's meeting with Chicago, and he was playing defense against Chicago. Defense against the Chicago Bulls being able to build their team.
Well, what was in it for LeBron to just come out and blatantly lie like that?
Well, as opposed to what?
As opposed to just putting out a press release that you've decided to join the Miami
but I'm
Heat
saying
and do an interview later.
It makes it look like he's torn the way that he did it.
But why exactly makes it look? What is this, the Hills?
Well, no, but it's all about perception and image. You know that.
He destroyed his perception and his image. That's the point.
Do you think he knew that? Do you think he knew he was doing that as he was doing it?
I mean, don't all of us have one person in our life who could be like, hey, look, this is going to make you look like a douche. Don't do it this way. I thought we would all have one person like that in our life, whether it's like a brother, a buddy, a dad, somebody like an uncle. You didn't have one person who had a red flag going up over their head like, hey, LeBron, we're giving $2.5 million here to charity, but even I don't think that's going to save you here.
What do you think? I mean, he's surrounded by ass kissers, isn't he?
I think this personified that. I mean, you could say this was the all-time sports entourage ass-kissing moment of all time. That everybody agreed that this was a good idea.
With Jim Gray.
With Jim Gray. And then, I think Ari Emanuel takes a little hit too, because he was the guy who put this together, and he's obviously either trying to sign LeBron or steal LeBron's agents, whatever he's up to. And why would he want to do this? And how does LeBron salvage this is my other question. Because Whitlock thinks he's going on Oprah.
No, he salvages it by winning. Winning fixes everything.
So you don't think he has to do anything this summer and sound more contrite about Cleveland?
No, I mean, maybe he'll do that at some point, but all he's got to do is hold up trophies. That fixes everything. Hell, I mean, Kobe Bryant was accused of rape.
Yeah. Hey, I was saying that to somebody. I mean, LeBron in 1 hour turned more people against him than the Eagle Colorado thing, because at least with that, people were like, oh, maybe it's not true. But to watch LeBron go on live TV like that, I said the other day, I don't remember an athlete doing more damage to themselves by really doing nothing other than doing an interview. And it's not like he had a Mel Gibson meltdown or anything.
It was so benign. That's the thing. The thing is, it was ridiculous and absurd and ego and flatulent, but it was fun and funny, too. It was absurd. Do you think that they would have saved themselves anything? You saw the quote today. Who was the athlete that's going to the Mile High City Harrington sent out a quote, I'm taking my talents to the Mile High?
Yeah.
Don't you think they would have been helped if just somebody had told 2 or 3 jokes in the middle of that thing?
Well, you had Jim Gray involved.
No, you need somebody to tell a joke. LeBron, somebody's got to tell a joke there. No, I mean, have some fun with it. That would have softened it a little, no? A little bit?
The other funny thing is we had a 1 hour show that he was interviewed for most of, and I came out of it with more questions than answers. I still don't know, did he want to leave at the end of Game 6 of the Boston series, or even earlier? Or what happened to turn him from the guy who completely eviscerated the Celtics in Game 3 and played one of the best all-around games I think I've ever seen anybody play in my entire life, to a guy who did not seem to care if they lost the series and who immediately ripped off his jersey after the end of that game.
Well, hold on a second, though, Bill. Let me read 2 stat lines to you before you go here. You ready?
Yeah.
The game LeBron quit in. 27 points, 19 rebounds, 10 assists, okay? 27.
That's game 6.
That's the game he allegedly quit in.
Well, he quit in the last 2 minutes. I mean, he didn't quit in the whole game, but I've never, ever seen a team that was only down 6 or 7 and didn't have the ball, and they didn't even foul. They just wanted to get off the court. I've never, ever in my life, in all the years I've watched basketball, see a team more ready to leave the court.
27, 19, and 10, quitter guy.
He quit in the last 2 minutes. He did. We all watched it. He quit.
And Kobe, 23, 15, and 2 in the game that decided the championship this year. All worst numbers.
He was terrible in that game. Look, the damning game for LeBron, and the game that he will never, ever be able to justify unless there was an awesome reason for him to quit on his teammates, was Game 5. Because that is a game at home, in front of your fans. You know, if you lose that game, you're going to go back to Boston, you lose the series. And he's just standing there like it was like a preseason game. That is the one I will never get. And, I remember waiting until Barkley, watching that game and then waiting for Barkley afterwards, because I was like, I know what Barkley's going to say. I just want to make sure I didn't imagine this. And Barkley came out, and Barkley was sad. He was like, man, I just, to watch somebody like that on their home floor and just to go through the motions like that, like as a basketball fan, I'm sad to see that. I'm upset. And I don't ever remember a player getting a reaction like that.
They're taking the ball off. They're going to give it to Mike Kozak, the assistant trainer, who will inscribe it for him, which I think caps an amazing year for him. He was in Jacksonville 2 days ago when we won the Southern League Championship, and here he is getting his major league hit off no less than Chris Carpenter.
So a man on first here, no out, and Logan Morrison comes up to bat, Dan.
I like his plate discipline, by the way. They've got a couple of guys with Coughlin, Gabby Sanchez, and Morrison who have good plate discipline. But what's going to happen here, David, with Rodriguez, in all seriousness, given that Hanley's got the position locked up for the next decade?
Well, Edwin Rodriguez is our interim manager. You may mean Ozzie Martinez, who's the shortstop. Are you confusing Rodriguez and Martinez?
All of these Latin guys are the same to me, Samson.
There he is, Dan Le Batard. Oy vey. By the way, that's ball 2 to Logan Morrison, who, as you know, has a 38-game streak of getting on base by either a walk, hit by pitch, or hit. Today he's 0 for 1, 5-3 in the first inning. So this is a pretty big at-bat, Stu.
Does that include the shot he took in the face when he was standing in the on base?
Stu, you got to stop talking when there's a hit.
Logan Morrison with a big base hit up the right side, and Martinez slides it at first and third, no out here in the bottom of the third inning for the Marlins.
What Logan did, he actually, if you look at the replay of that, he stayed back on that Chris Carpenter fastball. He pulled it right to the right fielder, and you saw Ozzie Martinez go from first to third quite well on that, Dan. What's your scouting report on Ozzie's speed?
I wanted to ask you the question that I asked you before about him. What are you going to do with him at shortstop if you've got how many millions locked up in Hanley Ramirez at that position?
Well, listen, we just want as many good players as possible. We do have a shortstop for a lot of years, but Ozzie's up here and he wants to play well, and maybe he can be a utility or play other positions, or sometimes players get hurt. But you can never have enough good players or good radio hosts, as Dan Ugla takes ball 1.
Pitch inside to Ugla, so a 1-0 count. First and third, no out here in the bottom of the third. If you're wondering where Geffner is, we're wondering as well. It's Dan Le Batard, Stugotz, and David Sampson calling the game here for a couple innings. And texters, you can ask Sampson a question, 74965. And yes, we're all in agreement here. This is an unmitigated disaster.
Epic failure. But here, there's a guy in the batter's box, Sampson. Everybody wants to know when you're going to pay that man his money.
That'd be Gabby Sanchez, of course. Way to paint that picture, Dan.
That's Ugla.
Dan Ugla's up there, Stu.
Oh, Danny Ugla. Danny Ugla. Well, let me paint the picture, okay?
They don't have to pay Gabby for a while. He'll be here for a little while. Ugla's the one that they've got to pay.
I can't actually believe you two have a radio show. It's very sad. The count to Dan is 1 and 2, first and third now. Nobody outs as the Marlins try to really stick on Chris Carpenter, what could be his worst outing of the year. Hopefully it will be. Dan, we're talking to him. We would very much like to have him long-term.
Marlins Radio's worst outing of the year, too.
There's a bloop to the left side there, caught by the shortstop, Skip Schumacher. I hope it's Skip Schumacher. It better be Skip Schumacher.
It's actually Brendan Ryan, but
Nailed
listen,
it.
You're doing fine.
Thank you. Carpenter deals. Some chin music to Gabby Sanchez.
Chin music normally isn't swung at. And
David,
swung at that, Stu.
I got news for you. I was getting chin music in no matter what today.
This is radio, Stu.
I was getting
Please
my
pay
chin
attention.
music in.
Dan, I'm wondering if we can get a close-up of your mother on radio.
1 ball, 2 strikes here to Gabby Sanchez.
Even in a 4-0 game, this would be a big pick-me-up for St. Louis if we can't score here, having first and third no outs. So hopefully Chad Tracy can get a base hit.
A big pick-me-up. This game is wholly irrelevant.
No, there's
not for the Cardinals. It's not.
Nothing's wholly irrelevant. No, the Cardinals aren't eliminated yet.
We're still in it then. Meaningful baseball here in September for the Cardinals. You disagree, apparently, from that laugh, huh? Here's the 0-1. Swings and miss. 0-2 the count now to Tracy.
Misses. Swings and misses.
Thank you, Dan.
I hope you have a new appreciation for Glenn and DVH and the hard work it takes to call 162 games.
A new appreciation? I've always had an appreciation for him.
I know Dan does, and he's standing here with such contempt and disdain, it's hard to imagine.
Where is Dave Van Horn, by the way? I don't like the fact that there's a Hall of Famer breathing down my neck. It's very intimidating.
He's not there yet, but he certainly should be. Chad just took an 0-2 pitch inside. It's 1-2, first and third, 2 outs.
Why aren't you wearing headsets? I heard you're a germaphobe, and so you won't wear headsets.
Not unless they've been cleaned or are brand new. That is actually true, but DVH has a microphone, and my lips are approximately 3/4 of an inch to an inch away from it at this exact
And that
moment.
makes you uncomfortable, doesn't it? It makes you
I actually
uncomfortable.
have upper lip sweat currently.
Here comes the pitch from Carpenter. He strikes him out. That's the end of the inning.
The hell was he looking at?
I don't know. You got
Strike
to
3. I think you may have been expecting something else. Is the only thing I can think of.
It is 4-0. We're back right after this on the Florida Marlins radio
What
network.
a terrible at bat. What's going on here? Who's batting here, Samson? You're helping us out because we don't know anything.
Well, John Jay is up, and Chris Volstad's 1-1 to John Jay.
John Jay is black?
He is indeed, Dan. Confirmed. Marlins leading 4-0 here, top of the fourth. Dan Le Batard, Stugotz, and Marlins team president Dave. And John Jay just grounds out to the shortstop. Over to first to Gabby Sanchez. One away here in the top of the fourth. Again, Marlins leading 4-0
Stu,
at
he
Sun
didn't
Life
ground
Stadium.
out until the throw is actually made. I think you got to learn that once the ground ball happens,
Yeah.
a lot can still happen prior to the out.
Especially with your guys in the field, huh?
Oh, look who's batting here. Look who's batting here. Albert Pujols leads the league in a lot of offensive categories, including
nose hair,
including attending Glenn Beck rallies.
Pitch to Pujols, a ball outside.
Can we talk about Tony La Russa's tattoo? He's got a tattoo.
Of what?
He got a tattoo recently.
It's 1-1 to Albert Pujols. What's the tattoo of, Dan?
I don't know, but he lost a bet to his daughter, and he got a tattoo late in life. He's a surprising sports figure to have a tattoo, especially getting it late in life. Apparently she bet him that he could stay awake at the stoplight when drinking and driving during spring training.
Volstad getting ready to deal.
Glenn Geffner just passed out in the radio booth, by the way.
Three
Literally,
balls and...
If someone could come to the radio booth and please resuscitate Glenn Geffner.
You noticed, it's easier, Davey. You just ignore him and move on. That's all you do. The 3-1 here to Pujols. And why not? You got to walk that guy.
Our biggest nightmare has come true. The scoreboard has gone out.
What a disaster. Matt Holliday coming to the plate for the St. Louis Cardinals. Today's preferred care partners tip of the day is the resting period for a muscle injury has certain steps to reduce further damage. Rest, ice, compression, and elevation.
The La Russa tattoo, not the strangest one in sports.
Scoreboard is back, thank God.
Strike on the outside corner.
Good
Kenyon
call.
Martin also has a couple of tattoos. He's got a rapper's lips tattooed on his neck. He's going to have that removed because clearly that relationship didn't last, so neither will that tattoo. Also, he's got a Chinese symbol he thinks means warrior, but Yao Ming has told him means noodles. The 0-1.
There's a strike from Volstad there.
Folks, the thing about Le Batard is he's delivering all these lines seriously as though our listeners actually want to hear about Kenyon Martin's rapper tattoo.
Oh, they do.
The fact is it's now 0-2, Stu, just so you know.
That's correct.
To Holliday with Pujols on first. Volstad right now with 45 pitches comes in.
And that's a shot up the middle there. Caught by the left fielder. I'd say his name, but I don't know who your left fielder is. Is
That's
it Logan
Morrison? That's
okay.
Morrison.
Did you say shot up the middle? Ladies and
Well,
gentlemen,
cut
that
up
was
the
a
middle.
shot right to left field, actually. I'm not sure what.
Two
up
away here in the
middle
top of
about
the
that.
fourth, Dave. Two away in the top of the fourth. Dan, you would say that Volstad is dealing today, right?
Not the strangest tattoo I've seen in sports. John Clayton has one on his lower back, a tramp stamp. I licked it one time at
Stu, if you could give
crazy
Dan his medicine
ESPN
here, that would be
Christmas
terrific.
party.
Now, Dan, when we met with Edwin before the game, he said he would not let Volstad go past 85 pitches today.
That was the manager?
I know you've been confusing Edwin Rodriguez and Ozzie Martinez, but that was the manager. Another foul ball.
We also met with LaRussa, and he was barely coherent before the game. Oh, he hits one far, but not far enough. Looks like Rasmus is going to catch it in the outfield, or it's Ryan, or I have no idea, but Mike Stanton is out, one away here in the bottom of the fourth inning. I mean, did I nail that call or what? I gave you the impression, David, that maybe it was going to be a home run, but then I pulled it right back.
Yeah, but people can't watch it on television, so they.
Oh, I think I painted a picture there.
Yeah, but you painted the wrong picture.
Brad Davis, the guy who hit the grand slam to put the Marlins up to 4-0. He is up at the plate.
There's
right
over 100 million reasons you should know who caught that ball. That was Matt Holliday in left field, of course.
Okay.
And now Brad Davis is up, who hit a grand slam in the second inning. I have no stats on how many grand slams we have or have hit, but it seems like that was a timely one. It's 1-0 now to Brad Davis as the Marlins are leading here 4-0 bottom of the fourth. This is David Sampson along with Dan Le Batard and Stugotz. And Brad Davis sends one to center field. I don't think that's going to have the distance. And it's 2 away. I'd like to point out that this broadcast is being heard in the Marlins clubhouse, and the players have been texting, listening intently to Le Batard's quotes and comments. And Edwin and Ozzie Martinez are on their way to the booth to show Dan that they are actually, in fact, two different people.
That guy was your manager. The guy that we talked to before the game was your manager.
Yes. The guy who gave us all those scouting reports before the game.
In accented English.
Yes, that is their manager.
2-1 to Chris Volstad. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. Chris is pitching a good game as he takes and swings through a changeup.
There is no chance of Volstad doing anything in this at-bat the way that he swings. 0 chance. There's a 0% chance of him doing anything other than what he just did, which is strike out meekly and head back to the dugout.
And just like that, Chris Carpenter gets through 4 innings, and that's the end of 4. Marlins, 4 runs, 4 hits, no errors. Cardinals, no runs, 1 hit, no errors. The end of the 4, Marlins 4, Cardinals 0. The Florida Marlins Radio Network.